23 of America's best, ready to rock Las Vegas in the Kobalt Tools 400, live on Fox. Field on track, beginning the pace laps. Let's have a look at the Geico starting grid for today's race. The field is set by points from 2012. That's how you do it the first three races. So series champ Brad Keselowski has the pole with Clint Boyer alongside. Four-time Vegas winner Jimmy Johnson with Casey Kane. Greg Biffle in row 3 with Denny Hamlin. Rookie Ricky Stenhouse with Kevin Harvick in row number 4. And two Vegas winners in the 5th row, Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon. Then the fastest man in yesterday's final practice, Martin Truex with Dale Jr., a two-time runner-up here. Kyle Busch, the 2009 winner, with Ryan Newman, top 5 in the last 2 races here. Mark Martin and Carl Edwards in the 8th row. Then Paul Menard, Matt Kenseth, Marcus Ambrose, and Jeff Burton are the top 20.
Let's talk to Kyle Busch, hometown favorite. Kyle Busch, it's DW. Got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir. Right here, DW.
Hey, man, you had a great race yesterday. Can you take anything from yesterday and apply it to today?
Yeah, you can definitely take the track conditions and the things that the track did, changing throughout the event, adjustments and stuff like that we had to make, apply that to today. So the Monster Energy Camry yesterday was really, really good. There was one better than us, but I think today this M&M's Camry is really, really fast. So hopefully we're the best of them all.
This is your home track, buddy. What would it mean to win here?
I've done it once, and it was pretty cool, man. It means a lot, and I'd love nothing more than to be able to do it again and get our 2013 season started here. So we got to start heading in the right direction.
All right, my friend. Thank you and good luck. Thanks for talking to us.
You got it. Have a good day up there.
Kyle Busch, first driver to finish outside the chase, starts 13th. Today's race brought to you by Budweiser, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, fast finish. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buzz. Earlier, we caught up with Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, Chad Knaus.
Guys, I think the Kobalt tools to the victory today are definitely going to be pit strategy and track position. That's going to be very, very key. We've seen that with the Gen 6 car. I think it's really going to come into play today. But the crew chiefs are going to have opportunities to exploit a lot of things throughout the course of this 400-mile race. So I want to say thanks to all of you for attending the Kobalt Tools 400, and I hope you enjoy the event.
Field on the pace laps. Let's get downstairs for late-breaking stories from pit road. First to Steve Burns.
Well, thank you, Mike. Now, while some of the best teams and drivers struggled to find grip yesterday, Clint Boyer in the 15, not among them. His race car kept getting better and better. His last 5 races on a 1.5-mile track, his worst finish is 10th. And Matt Yoakum, he also has a second-place finish and a win.
Steve, the cards fell right in Jeff Gordon's hand with qualifying washed out. He starts in the 10th position in a race car he has struggled with much of the weekend, but they hit upon something right near the end of final practice. That makes this first segment of the race vital to see how good it really is and to how big of a swing as far as adjustments go on that first stop. Chris Devoda?
He pumps iron daily and listens to rap music. He's 54, but there is nothing old about Mark Martin. Should he win today, he would break Harry Gant's record as the most mature Sprint Cup Series winner. And based on the car he had in final practice, he has a great shot. Jeff Hammond?
Well, Chris, Darrell Waltrip called the bunch character. Today, going down in turn 1 at over 200 miles an hour from this vantage point, we'll really be able to see that. But the big character builder could wind up being Mother Nature. I'm talking about the wind. Make the car push going into turn 1 and make them loose coming off of turn 2. Mike?
That's a great spot, Jeff, out there in the noonday sun of Las Vegas. Steady rain all day Friday, breezy and cool yesterday. Today, it could get up into the 70s, and with a light breeze, not a cloud in the sky. We'll race 267 laps to make up 400 miles today. 45 miles an hour down pit road and about a 7-lap window of making green flag pit stops. Teammates McMurray and Montoya both go to the rear for an engine change. And out in front of the field is the new 2013 SRT Viper 640 handcrafted Detroit horsepower. Imported from Detroit, and a world-class new automobile from the Chrysler Group here today because of Chrysler's support of Las Vegas Motor Speedway all year long. I think it wanted to stay out there and lead a lap or 2. Here we go. Ready to race in the desert, DW.
You got it. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, folks.
Keselowski in command quickly, and the driver who did not get up to speed as fast as those around him was Jimmy Johnson, who's fourth.
But I'd watch his teammate that's out in front of him, Casey Kane, in that 5 car. Casey really fast and happy with his race car yesterday.
And Larry, they're not holding anything back on this opening lap. Kyle Busch just went down on the apron and passed 3 cars going into turn 1. Really, really aggressive on the get-go here.
He started 13th because last year he was the first driver to finish outside the chase for the Sprint Cup. 13th in the standings. Now beginning next week, if qualifying is washed out, we'll use this year's points. But have a look at the move that Darrell talked about 1 lap ago.
Hey, watch this.
No out-of-bounds line anywhere except Daytona and Talladega.
It's like playing chicken going off in that corner when you're down on the inside like that. Who's going to give?
Brad Keselowski led the first 2. Boyer wiggles trying to take the lead on the low side.
Boy, he almost lost that thing.
But I think that's what we're going to like here today is these drivers already early in the race. They're able to run side by side, and they will run side by side through the corners.
Casey Kane to second. Boyer regroups on the outside, but he's got Jimmy Johnson directly inside him.
Yeah, Larry, the really fast groove is around the bottom, but that's where it's the bumpiest. What these guys have found out, they go a little high, they can run above those bumps. So if you don't have a car that's good through the bumps, run up high.
Johnson makes the pass, and he is third behind Keselowski's Ford and Kane's Chevrolet. See what we mean down here in turns 1 and 2, where the track has a few dips or bumps, if you will.
I call those goosebumps. That's what you get when you run through there and the car gets out from under you.
Oh, and by the way, I think we saw yesterday in the middle of the corner, 170 miles per hour.
Yeah, 2 old whatever going into that corner down there, and that's amazing speed. Boy, Boyer has got his hands full, guys.
Riding with Jimmy Johnson off into the corner. Look at that, 202 miles per hour. And the gyro cam. Kyle Busch has picked off Stenhouse. He's now up to 8th from 13th.
This is a bigger thrill than what Ricky Stenhouse and Michael did jumping off the stratosphere. I can tell you that.
Now Tony Stewart drops a spot to Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Stewart, who started 9th, falls to 13th.
Not happy, Mike. Not happy with his car. Just couldn't get it where he wanted it yesterday.
On the bottom, Casey Kane looks for grip and drive off the corner. But Darrell, it seems that high line off turn number 2 favors Keselowski.
Yeah, there's a lot of momentum up there, and again, you're above the bumps, so that's going to be hard to make a pass. You're going to have to go to the outside like he is if you want to get by him.
Casey Kane moves below that line trying to get a little run on Keselowski down the front stretch.
You can see he pulls pretty even in the middle of the corner, but that momentum off the corner, that's hard to deal with.
And I think what we'll see here is what we saw the last lap. Keselowski in the 2 gets down in the corner deeper, but it's like Kane is able to overcome that from the center right there off the corner.
Matt Yoakum.
Mike, that's exactly what Brad told his crew chief Paul Wolfe. The car definitely better than it was in practice, but I really have to manage my entry down into turn 1, but very upbeat so far in the 2.
I think the big advantage for Keselowski was starting by points. They don't qualify well. They usually start deep in the field. We don't know how good he is until late in the race when they've done stuff in the pit. He and his crew chief, Paul Wolfe, does things in the pit to get track position. Today they started with it.
Well, Casey's car sticks on the bottom. We know that. And he comes off a 4, just a car length back of the race leader. But right here, where he needs to be even with Keselowski in the middle of the corner, he can't close alongside.
Yeah, you just get bogged down on that inside. You come off there with a little less speed, a little less RPM, and that guy on the outside is just go sailing on down the straightaway.
But Darrell, you talked about it at the top of the show. This is the type of racetrack that I think the focus with this Gen 6 car was on. And there you see Casey Kane again. Let's see if Keselowski can do it on the highest side here. I don't know that he will.
Kane on the bottom below the white line, gets a good bit of grip, and there he goes. Casey Kane out in front. One of the drivers who has dropped back from the start is Clint Boyer. He's fallen from 2nd to 17th. Steve Burns.
And Mike, he just cannot find a place to run safely right now. Moments ago, he said, man, this thing isn't loose, it's really loose. So with all that grip they had accumulated and built up yesterday, it's gone.
Yeah, I saw him a number of times, Steve, come off turn 4 sideways. I could see the numbers on the car.
Casey Kane is the new leader. Brad Keselowski 2nd, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch has motored from 13th up into the top 5 as we take you side by side on Fox. "16 laps complete in Las Vegas. Clint Boyer had dropped 24 spots on the racetrack before they decided enough was enough and brought him to pit road. Casey Kane continues to lead. Watch what happened to Boyer just before he came in.
Yeah, Mike, this is when you're praying you have a flat tire. You're hoping there is a problem with this car and it's not going to drive like this all day long.
Well, it was a pretty close call with Trevor Bayne in that 21 car as he was the meat and the sandwich of 3 wide.
Yeah, the 15 just could not get off the corner. No speed, and Trevor in the 21 just about ran over him.
A couple other drivers who have dropped back. Tony Stewart's lost 15 spots. Well, we talk about comers and goers. Here are some of the comers. Jamie McMurray and Juan Pablo Montoya both started at the back due to engine changes and a problem with the installation on an engine after the Thursday test. Crankshaft thrust bearing problem. So they had to replace those engines, and they've moved through half the field, both McMurray and Montoya.
But I tell you, Kyle Busch in that 18, he just keeps picking them up and laying them down.
Yeah, he's got some of the fastest lap times of those first 5 cars.
Meanwhile, Tony Stewart has dropped 15 positions from where he started. Steve.
And Mike, he's one of the drivers severely loose. He said he feels like the car is on top of the racetrack. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, opposite of how Greg Biffle's Ford was during practice when it was tight now, he says it is absolutely dirt track and super sideways loose. I can barely hold on to it. 0 ounce of grip. I don't know if we'll be able to make it this entire first run. Matt Puch, his crew chief, just continuing to coach him, trying to keep him in the game here to get to that first stop.
I think this is just a classic case of the weather being so different today versus yesterday or the test from Thursday. Just much hotter and just not near as much grip.
Hits and misses. Now Clint Boyer has already been on pit road, and he is 2 laps down after that pit stop. What'd they find, Steve?
Well, Mike, his car was so loose, he thought he had a flat tire. As you said, he came to pit road. The team just looked at the tires. All of them were inflated. Just a very loose race car, but the tires were okay.
And if you want to see what a loose car looks like or feels like, just get in there and ride a little bit with it. He has his hands, both hands full right now with that race car.
Now you also see Denny Hamlin right there. Hamlin in the top 10 solidly. He is in 6th place in his number 11 Toyota. Krista?
Mike, he is dealing with much of the same issue that Clint Boyer is dealing with, a really loose race car. And yes, this is a condition these drivers have not really had. In practice yesterday, the car would get looser as the run went on. Right now, these guys are loose right off the bat.
And you know, back to Clint Boyer, the box that he is in right now, you saw him 43rd, 2 laps down. Right now with this run we have, Casey Kane is putting more and more drivers 1 lap down. It's going to be tough for Clint Boyer to get those laps back.
Right, David Rudiman and Danica Patrick each going a lap down, 36 and 37.
Well, you know, we said in the opening there, Larry, this track has lost a ton of grip. Just the surface itself, throw in the bumps and then the hot sunshine today, and it's a handful.
Look at Montoya in the 42, the middle car there.
I've seen so many cars dirt tracking off turn 4. But just look down in there and watch him fight that wheel. It takes all the skill he's got, all his Formula One, Indy car, and stock car skills to hang on to that thing.
Darrell, no matter what the car's doing, the hands will never lie, will they?
No, sir. You better have quick hands today.
Scott Speed, Travis Kvapil have also gone a lap down. It's probably the 2 best cars on the racetrack right now, leader Casey Kane and the 18 of Kyle Busch, who is up to 4th with Kevin Harvick, gaining 3 spots now, up to 5th in the 29.
Well, watch the
and there
two
they
lines.
go after Jimmy Johnson. Kyle Busch going for 3rd.
Watch the 2 lines. Busch has been on the bottom the whole time. Never has come up off the bottom. Harvick, on the other hand, in the 29, he started going high and he started picking up speed. That high line is the way to go. Oh, man. Burping that baby.
Matt?
And a great shot there of what Kevin Harvick's fighting. He sits on a scale of 1 to 10. He's about an 8 loose, trying to hang on. He's moved up to the high side. That 18 car who's hugging the bottom, Kyle Busch, says, my car reacts, Mike, exactly how it did in the nationwide race on Saturday. A little tight in the front, but aero loose. It's fast, he says.
Darrell, one thing in Kyle Busch's favor right now, it looks like, is that with a few car lengths between cars, everybody's not all packed together. He can get a pretty good amount of clean air on his car as he's moving up.
Yeah, well, as long as there's nobody around you, you can just focus on your line. You don't have to look in the mirror. You don't have to know where the other guy is. And that's where you pick up the most speed. You're not distracted.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ricky Stenhouse.
We've seen a lot of good moves early out of Ricky Stenhouse, guys. He's really fast, and the guy that just drove around him, Truex, is running well, and Dale Jr.'s joined this battle too. We've got a lot of movers. Heck, on lap 11, Jamie McMurray, who started last, passed the guy that started second, and Clint Boyer. So a lot of stuff going on here early.
Earnhardt in 8th, right behind Stenhouse. Here's your leader, Casey Kane. He's up 2 seconds on Brad Keselowski.
Stick around, see if I can keep the lead here on NASCAR on Fox.
The Kobalt Social Media Command Center buzzing in the infield here at Las Vegas. You can follow all of their social media chatter at cobalthotpass.com. 32 laps in the books here. Matt Kenseth moving up. He's past Stenhouse, battling or closing on Dale Jr. as Casey Kane has now led 22 of the 32 laps after Brad Keselowski jumped out front on the opening green flag. We've been caution-free so far, averaging just over 176 miles per hour. There's a look at Keselowski, Kyle Busch in 3rd. And there is Brad Keselowski in 2nd, and Busch closing in just about 3/10 off the series champ.
Yeah, Kyle started 13th, and here he is already up to 3rd, and his car looks loose. Looks pretty loose.
Jimmy Johnson in 4th. 3 seconds off the lead, but 0.8 of a second ahead of Kevin Harvick.
And I watched Johnson, Larry, and he looks like he's kind of managing his car. Not pushing it, just kind of taking care of everything right now.
Found a good place to run right now.
A couple of lap cars, then Martin Truex Jr. in 6th place. And he's getting a mirror full of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Steve?
Well, Mike, the good news for Dale Earnhardt Jr. is while many cars are loose all the way through the turns, Dale Jr. is saying his car is just loose getting off the corners.
But what a start to 2013. 2 top 5 finishes, sitting up there well up in the points. But I like what Dale Earnhardt Jr. is doing right now. He's racing. He ran the support race at Daytona. He ran the race here yesterday. He said, I want to race more. I want to learn more about where the track's going to go for the big show on Sunday.
You heard Kyle Busch say that's one thing you learned from racing yesterday is track conditions and what I can expect, and that's going to pay off in the race.
Note that Jeff Gordon is the one Hendrick Chevy not in the top 10, Matt.
Mike, he's lost 4 spots since the drop of the green, and Gordon said simply that the car is so loose he can barely touch the throttle. His car is not bad on entry, but it's just so loose that he can't go up higher like he would like to do. You don't hear a lot of concern in his voice. Alan Gustafson already has a game plan for their first stop on how to fix it.
I think that's the good thing about all these cars. When you're loose, you have so many options. These cars ride on that right rear so hard that a little wedge, a little air, a little track bar, you can tighten these babies up.
Casey Kane, your leader. On the right of your screen is Greg Biffle. He's had enough. Biffle is going to bring his Red Cross forward to pit road. Matt?
And Matt Pusha, a lot of conversation back and forth on how big of an adjustment to make for Biffle's Ford. Right now, they're going to go with 4 tires and make a track bar adjustment, significant adjustment going down to try to get some tightness back in that race car. It was just too much to handle, so he finally had to give it up and hit pit road, Mike.
And that track bar that they're talking about adjusting, you can go up or down in the back. If you go down with it, that will make the car where it gets more rear grip. It's not as loose.
Yeah, what I like about a track bar adjustment, it affects the car both places, getting in the corner and getting off the corner. So it's a great tool.
But for these drivers that are way off right now, like Greg Biffle, even though we're about 10 laps outside the fuel window, I think we'll start seeing an epidemic of green flag stops.
39 laps complete. Casey Kane in the lead. Matt Kenseth on the move. Green flag pit stops begin here at lap 44. Leader Casey Kane is in along with Martin Truex and others. Steve.
Well, Mike DW talked about those adjustments. Casey Kane, they're going to take care of his car by taking some air out of the right rear tire. 4 tire change for Casey Kane.
Truex, Mark Martin, Casey Mears, Danica Patrick, Bobby Labonte, Travis Kvapil in. Here comes Eric Almirola, Trevor Bayne, Kurt Busch. Pit road filling up now. Brad Keselowski, who started pole, is in along with Tony Stewart and Marcus Ambrose.
Our junior on pit road. The 18 just took the lead.
Darrell, I've already seen some close calls coming on to pit road because the entrance is right there in the middle of 4. Steve.
The chassis adjustment for Tony Stewart, they're going to add a spring rubber. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, Brad Keselowski was actually going to pit the lap before, but Kyle Busch was so close he didn't have enough time to wave him off so he could get down to pit road speed. Air pressure change on the 2, also a chassis adjustment. Meanwhile, the 24 of Jeff Gordon, he says they need a lot of adjustment on that 24 machine. Enters his pit box. Alan Gustafson already calling for a chassis adjustment across the back. You can see the wrench going in the back window, and the 18 of Kyle Busch, one of the best race cars in the racetrack. A lot of spotters saying his car was so impressive, especially in the center of the corner, making that fast race car much better. Chassis adjustment already completed. 4 tires on, fuel's almost in. The good nod of the gas man, Steve, and they're away.
Matt Kenseth saying that his car gets looser the longer he runs. He said, I really want to tighten it up. We are really loose. Now the adjustment for the 20 car, 4 tires, and they will also make a track bar adjustment for Matt Kenseth.
Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards also got 4 tires at Sunoco Race Fuel.
Letting air out of that right rear tire is like letting air. Uh-oh, we got a penalty, guys. Who's it on?
It's on Kyle Busch, the 18 car, too fast entering pit road.
I was going to say about the air. It's like letting air out of it's like letting air out of a basketball.
18 too fast entering section 1. 18 too fast entering section 1. Pass through.
That is NASCAR race director David Hoots, and that means that from the orange cone to the first timing line, he did not get down to pit road speed quick enough. Jamie McMurray picked up the lead, and now he pits in front of Steve.
Mike, he is the only driver that I have heard say today, my car is not too bad. 4 tires, fuel, and a small wedge adjustment for Jamie Mack.
Pit road penalty on J.J. Yaley. He is too fast exiting pit road, and Joey Logano too fast exiting the pit lane.
Well, we've run, you know, almost 50 laps of green flag racing. You're out there running anywhere from 170 to 200, then trying to get down to 45 miles per hour pit road speed.
Pretty tough pit road, as you mentioned, Larry. Trying to get off the racetrack, not get run over, and get on pit road without speeding. Pretty hard chore.
And now this is agony, because a drive-through penalty means you must come down and run the length of pit road at pit road speed, which is 45 miles an hour, while everybody else is out there under green averaging 175 plus. Let's show you what happened to Kyle Busch.
Guys, check out Kyle Busch coming into the pits right here. You can tell he's just really going fast and didn't get it woed down enough by that line. What these drivers will do, Daryl, you know, they will cross the timing line at the beginning of pit road, maybe a little bit over, because they're trying to get all they can get to that line, and then they will adjust their speed and slow down in that section to compensate for going too fast at the start of the section. He didn't get it slowed down in time, though.
It's hard to get all those green lights green when you're coming off the track as fast as they are downshifting gears. It's easy to miss.
Well, we've long said this is one of the most difficult pit entries on the entire circuit.
For sure, Mike. I mean, you come off the track right there in the corner. What you're doing is you're looking behind you a lot to be sure you don't get run over. You got your hand up in the air telling you're pitting. It's a lot going on in a short distance.
This is the longest green flag stretch to start a race at Las Vegas since the track was reconfigured in 2007. Casey Kane, after the pit stop, back to the lead with 51 laps complete and a lot of action up and down pit road.
Out here, anything can happen. Usually does.
With 57 laps complete, let's take an inside look at what's happening in the Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by Sprint. Jimmy Johnson has the fastest lap of the race. He's currently running in 4th. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with no metering, no throttling, no overages. Truly unlimited data on the Sprint network. Learn more at sprint.com/speed. Now there's the 5, the blue car of Casey Kane. He is our race leader. And because of having to serve the pit road penalty, Kyle Busch did not go a lap down, but he is only a dozen or so car lengths in front of the race leader and in danger of going a lap down. However, 2 of the last 6 races here in Las Vegas were won by drivers who served pit road penalties.
Kyle Busch in the 18 is in kind of a precarious situation. People don't get out of his way, but they are getting out of the leader's way.
All right, what we have right here, this is the 2 laps that a driver makes, including his green flag pit stop. Dale Earnhardt Jr., before the green flag stops, he was running 8th. Now he's running 5th. That includes the driver getting on and off pit road, plus the stop by the pit crew. They obviously prevailed on that green flag stop.
Coming up to complete 60 laps with Casey Kane in the lead. And of course, these teams have a lot of adjustments they can use to improve handling on these cars on stops. So here is Jeff Hammond with a look at the Ford Racing Tech cutaway car.
Yeah, Mike, we've heard so much talk all up and down pit road, all the adjustments everybody's throwing at these cars today. Let's take a quick look and we'll show you exactly what they're talking about. First, we're going to get into the fact we're going to talk about the spring rubber. We're going to put one in the left rear. You'll see, and when they take that tire off, they put the spring rubber in there to make this spring a little bit stiffer, which means the left rear will get a little more pressure put on it, hopefully tighten this race car up. Also, we've heard a lot about the track bar adjustments going on, folks. This is where the track bar is actually located. And this is what it looks like when you're making the adjustment. It's the lower hole on the back right side. This is what the track bar is doing. They're going to adjust it up. You can see that's what they're trying to do, change that angle again, try to make the car get better grip or turn off the corner better. These are some of the adjustments you've heard so much about being undertaken during the first round of pit stops here at Las Vegas. Mike?
Thanks, Jeff. Kane enjoys a 2-second lead on Brad Keselowski, but the man he has in his sights is Kyle Busch. Darrell, why is it so important for Casey to try to pin Kyle a lap down if he can?
Because he's somebody that can beat you. That's a guy that you'd like to put a lap down. You know you're going to lap other people, and all of a sudden he's not going to be in a position to get the lucky dog. So you'd really like to put him a lap down if you could.
And right now, those two drivers on the stopwatch, they seem to be fairly even. It's almost a matter of who catches the traffic the right way.
Yeah, Larry, really what it is they get out of the 5 car's way. He's the leader, but they're racing around the 18 car because they know he's on the tail end of the lead lap.
Brad Keselowski with about half a second on Kevin Harvick, pulling up on the 39 of Ryan Newman.
You know, the 18, he has self-inflicted problems. That 24, he's just not going anywhere. Jeff Gordon in the 24, he's just about ready to go a lap down.
A look at Harvick now in third, 2.4 seconds off the lead. Matt?
His car much better on this run, Mike, and he's actually moved farther up the racetrack. In fact, Brad Keselowski's spotter, Joey Meyer, has told Keselowski, Harvick is almost running the cushion like he's at a dirt track. But what it's doing is, it's really giving him a great exit off the corner, and he's making that huge headway there.
Debris on the back straightaway, as you heard over the onboard radio, is the reason for the first caution of the day. A huge break for one Pablo Montoya and Jeff Gordon. Kyle Busch had passed them. They were in danger of going a lap down. And Ryan Newman will be the Aaron's lucky dog. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. Newman will get the free pass and be back on the lead lap.
And that's a really good deal for a lot of people. The people got to work on their cars, man. They didn't have time to do it on that green flag. Now they got time to talk to the crew chief. What are we going to do to fix this race car?
Pit road closed as they come around to complete 66 laps. Here's today's Ford EcoBoost track facts. Ford Sprint Cup cars have 7 wins at Las Vegas, the most of all manufacturers, including 5 of the first 7 races here. Carl Edwards, the last Ford driver to visit Victory Lane in 2008 and 2011.
Yeah, I would say as slick as this racetrack has been and the way these drivers are complaining about them slipping and sliding around 20 laps, I don't think you'll see any strategy here. I think it'll be 4 tires and fuel with a lot of adjustments.
Yeah, if your car is good, the worst thing could happen is have a caution flag. Of course, your car is good and you're lapping people. Now these guys know if these other guys that had problems get their cars fixed, now you got to race a whole new group of cars.
Now the pits were closed and remain closed. However, Clint Boyer's come in for service. They may take some time to make adjustments, and he'll restart the tail end of the longest line.
I get a feeling they're wanting to get so aggressive with adjustments. They're willing to pay the penalty of starting at the tail end of the longest line just to have more opportunities to get to pit road to work on this 15 car.
First caution flag of the day, this one for debris in the backstretch. And it comes about 20 laps after everyone had already made a green flag pit stop. What's puzzling to me is Montoya. He came rocketing up through the field from the back row, made it up into the top 15, and then during this 20-lap green flag run has slid to the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, you don't have time on a green flag stop to really talk about what's wrong or what needs to be done to the car. Crew chief takes a stab at it. Sometimes he misses it.
Here they come as pit road opens. Krista.
Jimmy Johnson on the first run complaining of his car having a lazy front end. Chad Knaus said, Jimmy, on that run, was it better at the start? Jimmy's answer, definitely. They made an adjustment the last time. They'll make another adjustment on this stop. Steve?
Mr. Casey Kane saying his car is in the racetrack pretty good. They're going to take some air out of the right front. 2 tires only for Casey Kane, Matt.
And our series champion in the upper right-hand corner, Brad Keselowski, they were talking about making an air pressure change in the right rear, possibly right side tires for the 2. He's away. Right sides for the 29 as well.
Darrell, I'm a little surprised that many 2-tire stops. I know track position is important, but boy, that's a lot of laps on tires.
I think that might have been some of what they saw in yesterday's race, Larry. We're under caution in Las Vegas.
NASCAR on Fox Live from Las Vegas. It's time for an AT&T race break brought to you by the nation's largest 4G LTE network, AT&T. Rethink possible. We might be working on a speed track record here in Las Vegas. Moments ago, more penalties for Greg Biffle, driver of the 16-car uncontrollable tire violation. So some of the pit stop issues we've seen early, Michael, and with this fast pace, how does that affect pit strategy?
Well, you just have to make decisions what you want to accomplish when you come to pit road. I love Kyle Busch's decision to get 4 tires. He had lost all his track position when he had his pit road penalty, so he was in the back. He knew getting 2 tires wasn't going to help him a whole lot on pit road because all the leaders were getting 2. They put 4 on it. It'll be fun to watch Kyle race through the field.
Las Vegas' own. He was convincing his crew chief. Discussion, let's take 4, drive through, or he said, crew chief said, next time we'll take 2. So that's the way they're thinking. What about the speed, the high rate of speed, continuous speed, the wear and tear on engines later in this race?
Yeah, we talked about the lighter cars and all the aerodynamic downforce that these things have. That means they're going faster all the way around the track, and in the center of the corner they're just barely off the gas. That puts a lot of stress on these engines, so these guys are going to have to be a little bit nervous about can they go 400 miles or will a problem happen.
Track record here in Las Vegas, average speed 146 miles per hour. We're currently going at 163, so we might be working on a track record here in Las Vegas, Mike, and that is your AT&T race break.
Thanks, Chris. 11 drivers took the wave around, meaning they did not pit on this caution. They got a lap back, and they include Jeff Burton and Tony Stewart. And Larry, one driver gambled with fuel only.
Well, we've been watching Jamie McMurray in that one outside of the 3rd row. Decided track position, fuel only for the 1 car.
So he will restart 6th behind Keselowski, Kane, Harvick, and Johnson. 3 wide into turn 1.
Easy, boys, easy.
It's close. Ambrose way on the high side, 3 wide in the middle of the pack as Kane reestablishes his lead. Look at him coming to turn 3. Almirola, that's Ambrose's teammate in the 43. That's all that stopped his forward progress.
Watch that 18 car, Kyle Busch. Michael Walton just talked about him. Wanted those 4 tires, and he's up there trying to get back in the top 10.
Yeah, well, he was in a position where it made sense for him to take 4. He's at the back of the lead lap cars there, so that made a lot of sense, and it's going to pay off. I tell you, the one that's going to be hurting is that 1 car of McMurray.
Ooh, Stenhouse might have got into the wall exiting turn 2, and they almost rolled right over him down the middle of the backstretch. Now he's in the 17 way up high. He and Ambrose almost got into it there. And now Ambrose will clear him along with the 51, driven this week by Austin Dillon, who gets a little squirrely in front of Kurt Busch.
17 is clean. He had no damage on the right side. Tires still got all the writing on them. They're good to go.
Good, Darrell, but boy, he had to pedal it and get way out of the throttle, and the pack almost caught him up.
That's what I like about rookies. They're fun to watch.
For the lead, Jimmy Johnson looks high on Casey Kane, drops right in his draft at the start-finish line. Which way will he go?
You know, that Jimmy said something that's kind of funny to me. My front end feels a little lazy. I think that's because of the bumps. I think they've probably done something to the front of the car with a shock package, bump stop package, to make the car float over those bumps.
I think we knew it would only be a matter of time before they made the right adjustments on Jimmy Johnson's car. Look at him scoot to the high side, Mike.
Casey Kane keeps his tire down low, gives Johnson a car width and no more exiting turn 4. Johnson's momentum should carry him into the lead at turn 1, but Kane, his teammate, is not going to give it up without a fight.
Should be a drag race off the corner here. Outside should prevail. Got that momentum. See how they do down the back here.
Brad Keselowski loves this. Side by side, he's able to catch them up along with Harvick.
Boy, Jimmy poured that thing. Oh, my gosh. Thought the throttle stuck.
He definitely drove it in there, and he picked the throttle up in a hurry.
Oh, lazy front end must have woken up there.
Johnson to the lead. From Casey Kane, Brad Keselowski 1 second back. Harvick and Truex all within 2 seconds of the leader.
You know, I think a lesson learned here this weekend is going to be that 2 car. We hardly ever talk about him early in a race because he's always working his way through the field trying to get track position. He started on the pole today. He's been there all the way, already this whole race. He's going to say, man, we just got to qualify better.
Landon Castle's taken his car to the garage area with engine trouble, where he will join Michael McDowell out of the race. Matt?
Mike, Keselowski's best finish here at Las Vegas was 26 on 2 separate occasions, but starting up front, even though the car wasn't exactly what he wanted during practice, he thought his package was good enough that with that clean air and with the first stop and adjustments, they could really have something. That's what he's got right now. He says his car is much better this run, still needs to have some help on exit, but he was very impressed with what the 48 at Johnson did, battling the 5 up front.
Well, one of the other Penske drivers, Sam Hornish Jr., dominated the nationwide race yesterday, and that car was amazing. I bet they got some notes from Sam's team yesterday, put it in this car, and it's up there today, looking good.
Look at Kane coming back, and you watch Jamie McMurray in the 1 up on the high side. Remember, he took fuel only for track position. He restarted 6th, but Jamie has fallen to 16th.
Yeah, I question was 2 tires the way to go, but I think enough drivers did it that it didn't make a difference, but no question. I think that science project of no tires after 20 laps, I think you can close the book on it.
Well, it's a net loss, Darrell. He pitted 12th, restarted 6th. Now he's fallen to 16th.
Yeah, I just don't quite understand the thinking on that call. Everybody took at least right side tires. You should have done that anyway.
And here's Ricky Stenhouse. His position matches his car number. Krista.
And he talks about the little issue he had earlier, but nothing on the radio about that. The only thing Ricky's saying now about his car is that it's a little bit too tight. He actually had one of the cars that was pretty good to start the race, just a little bit loose. They've gone from loose to tight on this run.
He's threading the needle right there, I can tell you. Man, he was out wide coming off the 2.
Wow, he likes that high side, and Tony Stewart's going to try to take advantage of both Stenhouse and Ambrose in the 9 on the inside.
Tony Stewart, he's trying to get up there and catch Trevor Bayne in the 21. That will be the first driver a lap down.
Riding that cushion.
80 laps complete. Jimmy Johnson is your leader.
See if I can keep the lead. More NASCAR on Fox coming up.
'86 laps complete out of 267, 181 to go here in Las Vegas, where Jimmy Johnson leads his Hendrick Chevrolet teammate Casey Kane by 2.4 seconds. Brad Keselowski another 2 back, just ahead of Kevin Harvick. Martin Truex Jr. rounds out the top 5. That's 3 Chevys, a Ford, and a Toyota in the top 5 positions after we've had 1 round of green flag pit stops and 1 round of caution flag stops.
If I'm a driver and say, I don't know what they did that 48 car, but give me a whole bunch of it, because it set him sailing, buddy. The odds-on favorite here, by the way, to have a great day.
And let's pick up on Danica Patrick's day with Krista.
Well, Mike, we don't have to tell you that not having qualifying really hurt her. She started way in the back of the pack, and that's where she stayed. She got on the radio early in this race and said, I don't have to tell you guys, I'm terrible. How terrible? Listen to the adjustments they made on the last stop. Track bar down 2 rounds, a rubber in the left rear, and a front shock adjustment, all on 1 stop.
But see, to me, that's where she struggles quite a bit. She's a rookie and trying to give the team feedback about what the car needs under these conditions. I think they probably make a lot of stabs at it just based on the fact, hey, it's loose, but that's about all the information they can get.
But they did hate to see qualifying get rained out, because in that 6.5-hour test session on Thursday, that's what they focused the most on, because that's where she's also been a little weak, leaving pit road and getting 2 laps of qualifying in.
Now, Carl Edwards with Kyle Busch right in tow, last week's winner, running in 8th place. And boy, Kyle has recovered nicely from that pit road speeding penalty earlier.
Oh yeah, that caution flag just saved him, because otherwise he'd have gone a lap down.
But I think what's paying dividends for him right now, especially into this long run, remember Kyle Busch, 4 fresh tires on that last stop. Carl Edwards and the others just 2.
Yeah, but you know what, Larry, you say that, and I agree 100%. The only way it's going to really help him is if the next time, if we pit under green, they could take 2 and have a little advantage on the guys that only took 2 under the caution.
Next week, Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee. All right, the last pit stop, we had a look at Casey Kane, and in this incredibly scientific demonstration from our Fox Sports Hot Tracks camp. I'm kidding. It's the hot tires and wheels coming off. Nice, cool, fresh ones going on.
I like that fire coming. Look at that coming out the tailpipe.
Yeah, that's where the exhaust pipe is located on every race car, right there in front of the right rear tire.
That's cool, except when it's hot.
Not cool when you have to handle those hot tires.
Well, for Hendrick Motorsports, there are 3 cars in the top 6. Casey Kane in second, Jimmy Johnson the leader, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 6th. Riding along with Junior. But for their teammate, Jeff Gordon, it has been a struggle. Let's go to his pit.
Mike, 16 wins on a mile-and-a-half racetrack like Las Vegas. Gordon won here in 2001, but it has definitely been a handful and a struggle much of the day.
We're way off. 10-4, hang in there, bud. We are good for 3 laps, and then we're right back to the same stuff. Loose, loose, loose.
The previous run, Gordon thought they were actually making headway, and then he said, actually now, we are much worse and getting worser. The car is just loose. We are not making any gains. We are going to have to take a significant swing on our next stop to pit road.
Hits and misses. We talked about this at the top of the day, Larry. Some folks will hit the setup just right. Some will come to it. Some will miss it and spend a lot of the day catching up.
And then what makes it tough, we're almost 100 laps into this race and only 1 caution to really be able to work on the car.
Now watch what happened to Travis Kvapil on pit road just a moment ago. Left side up in the air. And the jack is stuck under the car on the left side.
That got the left side of the car jacked up, and he's trying to take off with the car jacked up.
And right there, I think the jack had probably turned on its side, and that nobody could do anything.
.95 laps complete. Jimmy Johnson leads Casey Kane by 1.2 seconds.
And enter for a chance to win the all-new 2014 Chevrolet Silverado LTZ, a VIP Chevy racing experience for 2, and a meet and greet with Chevy driver Tony Stewart. You saw him on our pre-race show. Visit winthenewsilverado.com to enter. Jimmy Johnson leading Casey Kane 101 laps with 6 leaders, Mike. 6 different lead changes, and the average speed just under 160 miles per hour.
Thanks, Chris. 100 laps on the board. Remember that 11 drivers took the wave around on the one and only caution of the day so far, hoping for another caution to get back, caught back up, and that did not happen. So that has brought Jeff Burton, Joey Logano, David Rudiman, and David Stremme to pit road. Now Bobby Labonte coming in. And so they will cycle through because they did not stop under the caution flag.
I'll tell you one thing, our average speed is way up over what it normally is here. You know, we're averaging 160 miles an hour right at it.
Riding with Kevin Harvick in 4th, 5.5 seconds out of the lead.
This is one of the few racetracks a Richard Childress racing driver has never won at here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
And behind him, just about 0.7 of a second back, Martin Truex Jr., who led all drivers in number of points earned on these mile-and-a-half super speedways last season.
Yeah, you go back to our race at Kansas last year in the spring. He did everything but just dominate that race, but didn't seal the deal.
Battle for 6th, Denny Hamlin, running right where he started. And behind him, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's picked up 5 spots since the beginning. Now Earnhardt's about 8 seconds off the lead. Carl Edwards right with him.
Carl Edwards, I love the interview that Darrell did with him in the pre-race show. I think you're right, Darrell. You can't even wipe that smile off his face after that win last week.
He was a happy man, I'll tell you. That was a lot of relief for the old boy.
You know, of his 20 Sprint Cup wins, half of them have come back-to-back. 10 out of 20. And Kyle Busch, another up-and-down day for Kyle. He must just love passing cars, because he's had to prove to be so good at it. That pit road speeding penalty put him to the tail end of the lead lap, and he just started marching forward again.
Well, the race he won here in 2009, he had to do it from the rear of the field because of an engine change.
And remember, last week he had problems. He spun out all by himself, and that pit road penalty there, those things mount up, guys.
So there's a look at Kyle in 9th. Matt Kenseth will complete the top 10. 9.5 seconds out of the lead. Now you see the red, that is the groove on the racetrack from our Fox Sports Hot Tracks.
Now watch it get up out of that groove. Yeah.
And he was a lot looser than the guys down in the red groove.
Oh, yeah. No, that's pretty cool right there.
Johnson remains 1 second ahead of Casey Kane, and they have gained a bit of ground on Brad Keselowski, who's now 3 seconds back.
But what a start to 2013. Wins the Daytona 500, Phoenix, finished second. But he said during the offseason, even though they didn't win the championship, that he was very relaxed and happy because of the way they performed in the chase last week.
108 laps complete, and another round of pit stops coming up soon as crews get ready.
And racing fans, if you think you know something about speed, and in this race we're seeing a lot of it, buckle your seatbelt and play along at AT&T's Fastest Driver Challenge. Text FAST to 34763 to predict who will have the fastest times in today's race. It's all brought to you by the nation's fastest 4G LTE network, AT&T. Rethink possible as Jimmy Johnson, your leader. Casey Kane, Mike, has led the most laps at 59.
113 laps complete. Brad Keselowski's been in. Greg Biffle got 4 tires, along with Casey Mears, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Marcus Ambrose, and now Jamie McMurray. All 4 tire stops under green.
Yeah, this is where go, Steve, go ahead.
DW, Jamie Mack says, I'm on top of the track more than I was. I have less grip. Let's go to Matt.
And the same issue for Kevin Harvick in the Reeves Chevrolet. His car still too free on exit. Remember, they went right side tires on their previous stop. No adjustments going across the back as far as chassis adjustments. 4 tire change because in the previous stop they did go with 2. The 27 of Menard is in, and also Brad Keselowski hit pit road, took on 4 tires. He thought he had a flat. His tires were all up.
Casey Kane, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex to pit road. Steve.
Well, Mike, Casey Kane saying recently that the right front splitter was hitting the racetrack. They had taken some air out on a 2 tire change the last time. This time, 4 tires. Krista.
Denny Hamlin saying he needs help on the entry of each corner on the racetrack. Denny Hamlin, one of the teams that took 2 tires on their last stop. Matt?
And the 56 of Martin Truex Jr. is in. Now his car over the previous run was not as good as it was the run before that. The track continues to change. You can see different cars moving higher and higher up the racetrack.
Larry, this is where that 4 tire change that Kyle Busch did under the caution may really come into play. He may be able to take 2 right side tires where everybody else has had to take 4.
Yeah, Darrell, I hear what you're saying, but I think the amount of time he's going to have to be there for a full load of fuel, go on and get 4 tires.
And at least 1 pit road penalty. Here's Matt Kenseth in, Eric Almirola coming out, along with Trevor Bayne. Steve.
Matt Kenseth on pit road. Mike, he says, I'm loose, but not as loose as I was to start the race. You see right side tires. They too will go with 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment, Krista.
Jimmy Johnson talked about back on lap 110 saying he completely lost the nose off turn 2. That's really the only issue he's had on that run. He's coming in right now, 2 tires on the last stop. They expect to make a 4 tire change, which they will on this stop.
Tony Stewart in and out, and now Kyle Busch.
11, too fast entering section 1. 11, too fast entering section 1.
Denny Hamlin penalized. That's 2 of the Gibbs cars have been kicked for speeding coming in.
Same section, though, coming in. Matt.
And the 18 of Kyle Busch service already complete on his car. His car, the 18, much free this past run. He needed to make some bigger adjustments. 2 free on entry and exit. Krista.
Remember Ricky Stenhouse, the car that went from loose to tight. So you see making the adjustments. The first time he's been tight all day. They're trying to get that car loosened up for him. He drives better with a loose car. He said, I need it a little loose so I can wheel it.
But Stenhouse became the 7th different leader of this race as pit stops cycled through.
He's a Stenhouse.
What do you say, Darrell, in the pre-race? He's running for Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year.
Why didn't I think of that back in the Ricky Rudd days?
Ricky.
119 laps complete after these green flag stops. log jam in front of the race leaders. Jeff Burton and Marcus Ambrose trying to battle not to go a lap down. And Jimmy Johnson almost caught them all up in a big way.
Yeah, that I can't tell you which car that is. Trying to
Josh
get on pit
Weiss
road.
in the 35.
Yeah, he caused a bottleneck right there, and Johnson was all over it.
Took a while here, but Johnson finally got past one of those two and continues on as the leader. Casey Kane now second. Brad Keselowski, that 4-tire stop benefited him.
Yeah, because he came to pit road a bit early because he had a flat or thought he had a flat. He was able to get the benefit of those 4 fresh tires, but now he loses second to Casey Kane in that 5.
Yeah, that debacle there down in turn 4, it cost Jimmy Johnson it cost him all the lead he had, and now Kane is back on there, right on his back bumper. Looks like he might be ready to pounce back on him and get the lead back.
Well, I think Ambrose in the 9 is fighting so hard to stay on the lead lap. That's hurting Jimmy Johnson in that 48.
Johnson to the high side. Ambrose gives way. .127 down, 140 laps to go. Who are you looking at for the second half of this race? We'll give you some folks to keep an eye on. Our Fox mid-race report here coming up shortly. Three Chevys, a Ford, and a Toyota in the top 5 with 139 laps to go in the Kobalt Tools 400.
Live in Las Vegas, and time now for the AT&T mid-race report. Pole sitter, defending NASCAR champ Brad Keselowski led the first lap of this race, but in the previous 15 Las Vegas races, the leader of the first lap has never gone on to win. Casey Kane has led the most laps along with Chevy teammate Jimmy Johnson. They've dominated the first half of this race. Darrell Waltrip, who are you keeping an eye on?
Well, you know, in most sports, the home team has the advantage. Kyle Busch, I got an eye on him. This is his home track.
I like what Dale Jr. is doing, guys. He's making progression. He just moved around Martin Truex Jr. You remember how he closed last week in Phoenix? He was challenging for the win late. Little pit road miscue cost him, but watch for him to be tough at the end.
Michael, we're halfway with only 1 caution, but we've had 6 penalties on pit road. Most notably, Kyle Busch, the 18, his teammate Denny Hamlin, the 11, speeding on pit road. If you're going to win this race, you better be penalty-free the rest of this way out. Steve.
Well, Larry Mack, the 5 team has been penalty-free. More to the point, they have kept up with this racetrack for Casey Kane. Every time they make an adjustment, that 5 car gets just a little bit better.
Martin Truex Jr. is a solid performer. He scored the most points of anybody on all the mile-and-a-half tracks last season. He's been in the top 5 most all day, and currently he's a solid 4th, Chris.
And the fast pace of this race, Mike, and fewer cautions, limited restarts make it tougher on drivers to make up ground, like Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and Denny Hamlin. And the halfway leader in Las Vegas has won this race just once in the last 8 tries here. That is your AT&T mid-race report.
Got a lead change going down the back there, guys. A 5-car Casey Kane just drove around Jimmy Johnson to take the lead.
Kane back to the front at 138 of 267 laps in the Kobalt Tools 400 on Fox. 43 laps to go. Let's have an inside look at what's happening in the Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by Sprint. Jamie McMurray started in the back. He is the biggest mover. He's up to 11. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with the NASCAR Mobile 13 app and truly unlimited data from Sprint. Learn more at sprint.com/speed.
You know, Mike, Larry, the guys have a term they use. They call the track, they say it rubbers up. And that's what I'm seeing with the racetrack right now. Kind of from the bottom up to the middle, looks like the track's rubbered up. It's pretty black. What these guys are starting to do is really search for some new asphalt to run on, which is right up around the top of this joint, and they're sailing around the top of it right now.
Kyle Busch on the move. He has passed Martin Truex for 4th place. So it's Kane, Johnson, Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and Truex, the fast 5 right now, as we go to Jeff Hammond.
All right, whenever you're ready. Hey, right now down in pit road, Larry Reynolds was talking about the penalties and how they can get guys in trouble. As you see cars coming off right in the orange cone, that first section, a lot of guys have been caught through their speeding. The main thing when you're the one in this race, you're going to have to make sure you don't do that. Darrell's been talking about how fast this race has been. I I think that's what's getting a lot of these drivers in trouble is the speed of the race. And also, when you look back down pit road, not just the speeding penalties, but mistakes by the pit crew. We've already seen it done twice. One of the guys made a mistake with the jack. These things are so important. You've got to be precise. If you've got to be perfect the final part of this race, you want to go to victory lane.
Thanks, Jeff. The cars that are pitting now are teams that got off cycle when they took the wave around on that first caution of the day. So they're not on the same pit stop sequence as most of the lead cars.
Yeah, like Joey Logano on that 22 car, he pitted last back on lap 99, so he was definitely due to come pit road. And there you see he just made his green flag stop. You just saw our leader, Casey Kane. And the thing about Casey Kane in this 5, this is his 10th year in the Sprint Cup Series. And Darrell, he said during the offseason, this is the first time in 5 or 6 years that everything's going to be the same as last year. I've got the same owner, the same crew chief, the same everything. And I think we're going to see a lot of wins out of Casey Kane this year.
As long as he keeps that crew chief he's got, Kenny Francis, he's going to be just fine. That's a sharp kid.
He's our leader by 3 seconds as he puts a lap on Danica Patrick. We have talked several times about comers and goers. How about all of the same all at once? Martin Truex Jr., top 5 car, the 56, trying to move up and stay with Kevin Harvick. And whoa, he's passing Jeff Burton in 31 and Jeff Gordon. They're racing for 20th. They're trying to get by the BK car. Oh my gosh.
4 wide. How about that? Through the corner.
David Rudiman stuck in the middle of that battle. You want passing? We've got passing.
Yeah. Clowns to the left, me jokers to the right. Here I am. Stuck in the middle.
Only 1 caution flag so far, and that was for a piece of debris on the backstretch at lap 66. The record for the fewest cautions at Las Vegas, 2 twice.
Well, we're averaging 162 miles an hour, and this thing is going by in a hurry.
And what a great day for Casey Kane. He has led more laps today than in his previous 9 Las Vegas races combined.
And we're not that far away from green flag stops again. And it's going to take, I think, every driver, you're going to have to make at least 3 more stops to get to the end of this thing.
And we really saw this coming with Kane because he had the fastest car in practice yesterday. So we are not surprised that he's running as well as he is.
All right, let's check in at the Hollywood Hotel.
And Casey Kane with Michael Waltrip. You know, Mike, we've gone 151 laps here with 1 caution. They were just talking about that. The intensity at the rate of speed we're going, the wear and tear and focus on a driver, and how that'll play out in the late stage of this race.
Yeah, just think about Casey Kane, over 200 miles an hour down to the corner lap after lap. We've been racing for about an hour and a half, Chris. Down in Daytona a couple of weeks ago, Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson both run a half marathon. They ran that sucker in less than an hour and a half. These cats are in shape. They're ready to fight you all the way to the end, and they're up front right now. Look at him fighting that thing. This is good stuff.
Yeah, and Jimmy Johnson, you saw him on the pre-race show talking about all the physical activity. By the way, for Jimmy Johnson, here's something to think about. In 2006, when he won the Daytona 500, his first, he finished 2nd in the next race. He won the 3rd race of the season, and that was the start of Jimmy Johnson's 5 straight championship runs. So keep an eye on him here, currently right behind his teammate Casey Kane. If he can pull off the victory for the rest of the drivers, that could be bad news. But a lot of racing left. You're watching NASCAR on Fox Live in Las Vegas.
109 laps to go. Casey Kane is your leader. Greg Biffle made a pit stop while we were away under the green flag, as did Joe Nemechek, who got penalized for too many men over the wall and had to come back in. Jimmy Johnson now 4 seconds behind Casey Kane. A couple of lap cars in between them. Then Brad Keselowski, he's about 8/10 behind Johnson and closing slightly. But the quickest car on the racetrack right. Oh, close one for Marcus Ambrose there. Was he?
Yellow's
I think he's trying to get on pit road.
Yellow's outside. All right.
Tough break for Biffle, who had just pitted. But Ambrose will bring the caution out at lap 160. Looked like he might have been trying to get onto pit road.
I think he was trying to get on pit road, Mike, and he gets the car, he locks the brakes up there and gets the car sideways. And I'm sure, just like NASCAR, I thought that thing was going to come back across the racetrack.
But Darrell, we talked about that entrance being right in the middle of turn 4.
Tough.
You know, he almost spun that car. That was quite a save by Ambrose.
It really was. If you saw the car, it was in that transition from the apron to the banking, and that was a sweet job right there.
Denny Hamlin will get the free pass, and he'll be back on the lead lap. That'll give us 15 cars on the lead lap when we restart. The SRT Viper has the field in tow. And let's see if pit road will open this time around.
And this pit stop here, it's right outside the window of making this stop and doing it on one more, but don't count anybody out.
Why are you looking at me?
Because I knew where you were about to head.
Good thing we're not in the window business.
This might be a good time to, when they get one to go, top off.
Yes, sir.
Pit road is open. The leaders were last in about 40 laps ago. Krista?
The big question for Chad Knaus when I talked to him this morning was, do you keep up with track conditions or the car? This is different track conditions than we've had all weekend. Jimmy Johnson asking about tire pressures. Chad said, how big of an adjustment do you need? They've just been going with air pressure on the last few. Right now it's a 4-tire change for Jimmy Johnson. Steve?
Krista, small adjustment for Casey Kane in that 5 car. They're going to take a little bit of air out of the left front tire. He said the car has good balance. Matt?
Keselowski said his car was on the splitter at the beginning of that run and lost too much time and might have over-abused his front tires a little bit. They were talking about making a track bar adjustment to help the car at the beginning of the run. Also, Kyle Busch, he said his car was just too tight to run up top, but not bad at all. Loose to start, but it ended up snug.
A lot of 4-tire changes up and down pit road, but Brad Keselowski a bit late getting out there.
Yeah, something happened on the left side. I'm not sure. I didn't see it on.
Tail end of the pack for Keselowski. Came into the pits third. Under caution in Las Vegas. Finishing up the second caution of the day, Jimmy Johnson got a great stop, got out of the pits ahead of his teammate Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. We're a lap or so away from getting back to green, so let's show you what's fresh off the wire, brought to you by KFC. Brad Keselowski. Matt?
And during that stop, Colin Fambrough, the tire changer, they indexed the wheel. Some of the lugs, one fell off. You see him put it back up on. They lost the time, which equated to about 10 spots on the racetrack. Trent Cherry, the pit crew coach, he had the guys huddled. They were looking over the film, much like an offensive coordinator looking at game film, seeing exactly what happened so they can make sure they know if it was a problem with the changer, the carrier, or if it was just something amiss with the lugs in the wheel. But this is what you get in 2013 in NASCAR. Great game film like this, so make sure problems don't happen in the future.
He came in third, came out 13th, and that's what's fresh off the wire. Next week, a whole different racetrack, a whole new ball game.
Next week, NASCAR on Fox takes on the world's fastest half mile, where I've won 5 times.
Kyle Busch dominates in Bristol.
It's our old Coliseum of racing, and there's sure to be some bumping and some banging down in Thunder Valley. And it'll all be right here, only on Fox.
Food City 500, 12:30 Eastern. In racing's Roman Coliseum.
Last time we were there, they were throwing helmets, pointing fingers, doing a little bit of everything.
And that's what I look forward to, Larry. Next week, all this pin-up aggression is coming out.
All right, Jimmy Johnson elects the outside for the restart. Earnhardt and Edwards, row 3. Truex and Martin, row 4. Menard and McMurray in the 5th row. We'll have 15 cars on the lead lap for this restart. And Jimmy Johnson has elected the outside.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. There's a lot of momentum out there, and that seems like the way to go. I noticed yesterday in the nationwide race, Sam Hornish did the same thing. Seemed to pay off. I think we're going to have a cast of characters that are going to show up now. I think that 20 car with Kenseth and that 18 car, they're right there. I think they're ready to go racing hard.
Green flag, and we're back racing, completing lap 165, 102 to go. Kenseth looking high, Busch down low. Kyle Busch, wild thing, makes it 3 wide, and he wants the lead.
They didn't. I'll tell you one thing, Casey Kane did not give that to him. He bounced off of him getting down in there. That was close.
What a move by Kyle Busch.
Well, you know, it's that time, man. You got to get out front. It seems to be the place to be.
Just a little over 100 laps ago, Kyle Busch had to make a drive-through penalty down pit road because of speeding under a green flag stop at lap 46.
Larry, you know this, and the fans do too. There's nobody more aggressive on the restart than Kyle Busch. I've seen him do it time and time again.
And he told you when you talked to him under the pace laps how much he wants to win again at his home track.
Well, you know, in college basketball this year, the home teams have won almost every game, and this is a home game for him.
He was so far down below the white line a bit there. You saw the dust flying up behind his car because nobody'd been that low all day.
And just to make sure and drive the point home, no out of bounds below that white line at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's free game down there.
If it's paved, use it.
And maybe some that's not paved.
So Kyle Busch comes from 19th after the penalty. Last car on the lead lap comes to the lead.
Still inside, getting pushed by the 20. Too wide inside, all the way on the bottom. Too wide inside. Two inside, one inside, one inside, one inside. Clear behind 18, clear behind 18.
Kyle Busch graduated Durango High School, 16 miles from here in 2002. And when he came by the front straightaway, the very partisan crowd, there were a lot of arms in the air. Some with open hands waving, some raised in a fist. But here are your Toyota top performers. Busch and Kenseth in the top 5. Truex and Mark Martin still hanging in the top 10.
And Mike, he graduated from high school 1 year early with honors because he wanted to get to racing sooner.
Here's the 5 cars. Casey Kane's spotter about that restart.
We'll just half back on the 18. He's right with you. Right with you. Protect the bottom. Protect the bottom. Inside. Inside. Inside.
He protected the bottom.
Yeah, he did.
He just didn't protect the apron.
That's right. It's as far down the bottom I can get. Oh, wait, he's there. That was close, man. I think they made a little contact, to tell you the truth.
And you don't think the pace is picking up? Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth just ran their fastest laps of the race a few laps ago.
And Ricky Stenhouse in the 17 got up and grazed the wall.
Yeah, he's been flirting with that wall, as we know, all day long. He's an old sprint car driver, man. He likes to ride that cushion, but you got to stay off that wall.
15 cars on the lead lap from Kyle Busch all the way back to Denny Hamlin in 15th. Krista?
Well, Mike, Larry Mack is going to love this. The calculators are burning down here. And Denny Hamlin, remember he had that speeding penalty earlier in the race, but it means he got the free pass. So his pit stop happened a couple of laps after all of the other drivers. Darian Grubb told him, if you can save me some fuel, we think we can make this on one more stop.
The math is simple, Krista. He pitted on lap 162. That's 105 laps to go. Few cautions there, but he has to make runs of 53 and 52 laps, which we've not seen yet in this race.
Well, if you're going to gamble, you're in the right city.
And we know that man sitting on that pit box and that guy in that 11 car, they will gamble.
I say you go for it.
Kevin Harvick going for 10th against Brad Keselowski. That's the beer can battle right there. How about you grab the volume knobs on that great surround sound system you have with your big screen TV and give it a NASCAR on Fox? Crank it up. Kyle Busch 1.4 seconds up on Casey Kane. who has a little daylight to his teammate Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's first to second. Scott Speed has taken the Levine family racing Ford to the garage area. Steve?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. could be a player, Mike. He's saying the front end of this race car drives better on the bottom of the racetrack, so he knows where he wants to be. Likewise, Matt Kenseth in the 20 car. Matt saying, I know which grooves I want to be in this racetrack, and we've changed the balance of this car. It's coming to me sooner than it has on the previous runs.
I like Kenseth's chances today.
Yeah,
you know why? Candles.
Candles?
Birthday. 41 of them on his cake today. He's never won on his birthday. In fact, he says he's never raced on his birthday. And that car's been quick.
I still think he's just going through that getting comfortable zone, but he's getting closer every week.
2 Toyotas, 3 Chevys in your top 5 with 90 to go. Well, let's take an inside look at what's happening in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by Sprint. Casey Kane has led the most laps of anyone today. Get unlimited access to NASCAR with truly unlimited data from Sprint. No metering, no throttling, and no overages, all on the Sprint network. Learn more at sprint.com/speed.
Well, I can tell you, as I watch my little timing and scoring here that we have, the guy that's eating into this lead that these fellers have is that 20 car. He is marching up there at a 10th or 2 a lap.
Well, Darrell, he's one of the ones we talked about at the top of the show. Felt like, you know, with where he was going to be starting back in the 18th position, almost mid-pack, that it was going to take him a while to get there, but we knew he'd just keep chipping away at it.
So the Gibbs cars are running 2nd, 4th, and 15th. Denny Hamlin right now. They've had engine woes over the last couple of weeks as Jimmy Johnson pulls up on Kyle Busch for 2nd rather. Is there still a big concern there?
Well, I think there always will be a concern, but let's go to Matt on Kyle Busch real quick.
Now, Kyle Busch said when he was out front, his car was great, and then it started to go a tick to the free side, and then he has lost all grip on this 18 machine now, just trying to hold on. And concerning fuel, Dave Rogers first told him, conserve fuel for me, save your stuff. And about 3 laps ago, he said, don't worry about saving fuel, just drive as hard as you can go.
Well, yeah, he would have to have 2 53-lap runs. But, Mike, I think when you've had as many issues as they've had, there's always a concern. But I think they feel like they've nailed it down to the valve springs. A lot of miles here on Thursday at the test. And this place here is going to be a great testament have they truly figured the engine situation out.
With the resources they have, when they have a problem, they usually get it fixed pretty quickly. It's just like the guys had trouble with the Hendrick engines, 42 and the 1. They put the transmissions on the engines wrong and caused an engine problem. So there was a couple of those Toyota issues that were self-inflicted.
You notice our gyro cam, the little angle, it's about halfway between the banking at Daytona a couple of weeks ago and Phoenix last week. 20 degrees of banking in the corners.
And, yeah, you don't want to see the yellow, and never mind the red. But here, even the straightaways are banked. Except for pit road, you never get completely level racing around Las Vegas.
Man, that was close to just that 48 and 18 split the 34 there going around him, and that got interesting.
Well, I think they know now, even with lap-down drivers, they cannot mess around, that the race is winding down here with only 77 laps to go.
Harold, there used to be a protocol for drivers getting lapped, and they talk about it in the drivers' meeting. Either lap cars stay to the inside or lap cars stay high. And it seems that's all kind of gone away. It looks like now you just have to pass them where you catch them.
Yeah, and the other thing that you're always told, whether you're a rookie or a veteran, hold your line. Wherever you are, if you get yourself in a bind, just hold your line. Don't do anything erratic. Let the other guys work around you.
All right, Matt, how's Kevin Harvick holding up in 8th place?
Well, he's learning what it's like to battle a very loose race car here, but also trying to learn about himself. This week, Kevin started to wear his sports training watch to monitor his heart rate and calories burned. It gives him data to better understand what happens during a race. Harvick can then adjust his training loads to mirror his race day heart rate. Now, while getting in the car during practice on Saturday, it was 75. It peaked at 140 on the track. He's expecting to burn about 2,000 calories today with a max heart rate in the 170s. Now, to put it in perspective, I spoke with several riders in in the cycling industry, they tell me their heart rate at max is around 130 to 190. So it gives you good perspective of what these athletes go through compared to other athletes.
We heard Harvick say that he wasn't as concerned as his max heart rate as he was at how quickly his heart rate came back down after a run.
Look who's sneaking into the picture here, Mike. Last week's winner. He's creeping up into the top 5 here, and don't count cousin Carl out.
When Carl won here in 2008, he had won the week before.
He's a very happy man.
He's in 5th place, 4.7 seconds off race leader Kasey Kahne with 74 to go. Caution is out for Bobby Labonte's spin. The pits are open. Krista.
2 right side tires, the call for Jimmy Johnson. Big Brandon Harder gets it full of Sunoco fuel. Steve?
Right side tires for Kasey Kahne. Right side tires for Matt Kenseth. Matt Yocum.
More importantly, chassis adjustment for Kyle Busch along with his right side tires. And Mike, it's going to be not a close battle off pit road. The 5 is going to get him.
A lot of 2 tires on that stop.
Pretty good battle off pit road, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we saw earlier where those 2 tires worked fine for everyone, even with 30 laps on the tires. Everybody went with 2 for the most part. You can see Brad Keselowski, though, they elected to go with 4 tires, Paul Wolf, here with about 71 laps to go.
All right, let's show you why we're under caution. This is at turn 2, lap 195. Bobby Labonte's number 47 Toyota gets up, and along comes David Gilliland in the 38. And around goes Labonte.
Yeah, I thought he was going to save it. He got it sideways up on the track, but then he got down here where it's not much grip, probably dirty, and the car just spun with him.
Last year's winner, Tony Stewart, gets the free pass. And here's another look at it. So Denny Hamlin stayed out on track right now. He is the leader under caution.
Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers tied for an AT&T race break with 71 laps to go under only our 3rd caution. We've had more lead changes already in this race than in the Las Vegas race last year. And Kasey Kahne got things going, taking the lead. He's led the most laps today, dominating this race with 97 laps led. Kyle Busch, a little too fast, pit road penalty. That's been part of the story. Jimmy Johnson took the lead. He's led more than 66 laps. The Chevys have dominated throughout. It was a little back and forth with Kasey Kahne, Jimmy Johnson, and then Brad Keselowski having some problems in the pits.
Yeah, they have some lug nuts fall off here, and you can see the tire changers having to replace those. He dropped outside of the top 10, and then on his most recent pit stop, he elected to get 4 tires, differing strategy for him.
And then the race off the line, and then moments ago, with a race off the line out of the pits.
Kyle Busch rolls out of there second alongside Jimmy Johnson. There's the guy the boys in the booth are talking about, Matt Kenseth. He's running really good as this race closes down.
And the 2 car, that's Brad Keselowski with an issue. Matt Yocum has the report.
Well, great call by his crew chief and team. Paul Wolf and the 2 guys, basically they went with 4 tires, Chris, because they only lost 1 spot on pit road. Of the cars that pitted, they were able to take their time, try to work on his condition of being too free on exit, and get this 2 car hopefully back up to the front handling wise.
Thank you, Matt. So you could roughly go 50 laps here without having to stop. We have 70 to go, so there's another pit stop here. And at the rate we're going, we could set a track record here in Las Vegas. The average race speed, even though we hit speeds of 200, at 156 so far.
Yeah, and we talked about how it's stressful for the drivers to work their way. The cars are loose. They're slipping and sliding in the corners, so that adds some tension to them as well. And these engines, we're closing this thing down. We haven't seen a problem so far. Will they make it to the end? I bet you some of the guys are nervous.
Yeah, worth pointing out, Toyota, remember Matt Kenseth led the most laps at Daytona, second most laps Mark Martin in Phoenix, lead Toyota. So even though Chevy's dominated, if they hold up, watch for Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, even a Denny Hamlin to pull out Toyota's first victory of this season. And that is your AT&T race report. Let's go back upstairs to Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy.
Thanks, Chris. Jeff Gordon and Trevor Bayne take the wave around. They do not pit under this caution flag. But let's go back 1 restart. And Kasey Kahne had a bit of difficulty getting up to speed, and Kyle Busch was able to take the lead by going 3 wide on the inside. Now here's what Kasey had to say once things sorted out.
I got to figure out the restart's a little better. We got a good car, smart racing, plenty of time.
He also said he didn't want to beat the race leader, Jimmy Johnson, to the line, so he didn't have quite enough momentum to hold off Kyle Busch. Let's see what happens this time. Remember, Denny Hamlin did not pit. He was the last car on the lead lap. He elected track position instead of fuel and tires.
It didn't work out very well for Jamie McMurray in the one earlier in the race, so we'll just have to see here.
He's going to have to be careful on his restart, too, with those old tires.
Hamlin, Kane, Busch, Johnson, Kenseth, Edwards, Earnhardt, and Harvick. Back under green with 68 to go.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin will be lucky to be running 5th when we come back around to complete one lap.
His teammate Kyle Busch up for second. Here comes Kenseth rocketing through the field in that yellow number 20. And Busch wants the lead again. And the fans come to their feet. He's got it.
Yeah, Kyle is really, really good on brand new tires. He's got a car that goes like crazy for about 15, 20 laps. But then that 5 seems to come back on him.
But Mike, we talked about the importance of restarts, especially late in the race at the top of the show.
Well, if we get a couple of green-white checkers and Kyle Busch is anywhere near the front, stand back.
Well, you know, he said in the when I interviewed him in the start of the race, he learned a lot about track conditions, the groove and everything, and he's really he's using it to his advantage right now.
Since Kyle Busch joined Joe Gibbs Racing, this is his longest winless streak at 29 races.
You know, I can compliment him like yesterday, he finished second, and you can compliment him, and the one thing that always comes out, I just want to win. Second doesn't really excite him much. He just wants to win.
Kyle Busch, Kasey Kahne, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Hamlin in 5th, who stayed out, holding top 5 for now, with Earnhardt 6th, then Edwards, Harvick, Truex, McMurray the top 10. Now with the waiver rounds, we now have 18 cars on the lead lap. Back to Jeff Gordon.
I have to go back to this Denny Hamlin in this 11-car situation as we see Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson here battling for 3rd. They're going to have to come to pit road in about 10 to 12 laps because they have not been to pit road since lap 162. I do not understand that call.
I don't either, Larry, but they must. They know something we don't know.
We know they were going to try to make it on one more stop based on green flag runs.
We know we got a heck of a battle for 3rd place. Right there, Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson side by side for 3rd. Let's get more from Denny Hamlin's pit with Krista.
Up on top of the 11 pit box, we know the 11 was off sequence. Darian Grubb, the crew chief, working the numbers. Can you guys make it on one more stop?
Yeah, we can make it on one more stop, so we just had to gamble there and try to get a little track position back. We lost it there mid-race with the pit penalty, so it's Vegas. We're going to gamble a little bit.
I knew you were going to say that. Thanks, Darian.
Thanks, Krista. Well, he was 15th when the caution waved for pit stops, and he is currently 5th. So that's a net gain of 10 spots. If he can hold station till he needs to make that stop, then we'll see.
Short-term gain. I'm not sure it's not going to be a long-term loss.
Darian Grubb, a winner here in 2006 with Jimmy Johnson. 62 laps to go. 58 laps to go. KobaltHotPass.com is your ticket to follow all the social media surrounding today's race and throughout the season. Check it out at KobaltHotPass.com. Kasey Kahne in front of Kyle Busch now by 0.8 of a second as these two continue to play cat and mouse for the lead.
Yeah, right now that 5 car is holding the winning hand. I mean, the only way he's going to lose this race is something happens to the car or they make a mistake because he's fast.
Yeah, I believe the only people that can beat him is possibly themselves.
Now look at the 99 of Carl Edwards a couple of laps ago here, chasing Dale Jr.
This is what keeps you on the edge of your seat as a driver. You're coming through that corner in the gas, and that thing snaps on you, and then it gets your attention from there on out. Makes you a little nervous, doesn't it, Hammond?
Yes, it really does, Darrell. And the thing is, talking about getting somebody's attention, I really believe right now Kasey Kahne is hoping that Kyle Busch gets the attention of Jimmy Johnson, because that's one of the things about what I'm seeing out of this top 4 cars. You got Chevrolets and Toyotas really going at one another pretty hot and heavy. 3 Toyotas versus 3 Chevrolets. And oh, by the way, it's Hendrick versus Joe Gibbs. So I think we got to get an interesting dynamic kind of unfolding right now in the latter part of this race, guys.
Thanks, Jeff. There's the gap second, third, and it's not much of one between Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
Larry, I don't know what their strategy is, but that 11 is holding on pretty good right here. He's still in the top 5, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with their strategy.
Well, what his strategy will have to be, Darrell, he'll be on pit road, I think, in 2 to 4 laps. And then he's going to have to make a run to the end of about 50 to 52 laps. They've got that one-stop strategy. I'm actually hearing maybe a little further because, remember, cautions, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio. They're possibly going to go to about lap 220.
But can't that strategy of Darian Grubb and Denny Hamlin in the 11 only pay off if this race goes green all the way?
Well, they certainly don't need a caution to come out between the period when they make their green flag stop and all of our leaders make theirs, probably somewhere 20 to 25 to go. That will absolutely burn them. They need this thing on this strategy. They need it green to the end.
You know, there always seems to be one byword or watchword at every track we go to. Listen to this collection of driver sound bites throughout the day. See if you can figure out what today's watchword is.
I get too loose when I try to do that. Because I'm so loose. Feel really loose.
Getting looser and looser in the center.
Loose in the middle, loose off. Loose everywhere. I hear you, brother. I hear you.
I don't know what that one was.
That's a lot of money for those radios, and that's the only words they know.
Join Fox Fantasy Racing presented by Ford. Pick your team of 5 drivers each week. Compete for prizes all season long. Sign up today at foxsports.com/fantasy. 47 laps to go. Casey Kane out front by 2 seconds. But a new face in his mirror, and that is Jimmy Johnson, who's passed Kyle Busch for second place. Johnson 2 seconds back. Kyle Busch 3.2 off the lead now. Denny Hamlin has made his scheduled pit stop, as has Jeff Gordon, who took the wave around back at that last caution period.
That 5 and 48, Larry, they are identical. They just ran the same lap time, 30:47 around this racetrack. They are pretty equal right now.
But as far as Denny Hamlin, that 11, they've got to really sweat it out for about 20 to 25 laps, hoping that a caution does not come out. And the one thing they've got in their favor right now, they've got 4 fresh tires, so they are picking them up and laying them down right now.
So Hamlin is 1 lap down because of his green flag 4-tire stop. Jeff Gordon falls to 2 laps down. And here's 8th place. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski, who started from pole, about 12 seconds off the lead. And Keselowski caught him, and Harvick had a little bit of a rough time here. This is 1 lap ago.
Yes, you got to waltzing around with him a little bit there. I've been watching Kevin in the 29. He's been running extremely high. I mean, right up into the loose stuff almost.
So Harvick falls to 9th. And here's
trouble. Turn 2 down.
Hard in the wall.
And it is up high in 3 and 4.
Travis Quapple.
Blew up high in 3 and 4. He's all the way against the wall down the front stretch here. He's all the way against the wall. I don't know why he's not stopping, but
and he did not hit the wall, but all that smoke came from a big grenade under hood of Travis Quapple.
Not what Denny Hamlin and Derek Grubb wanted to see. I think their only choice will be to stay out and take that wave around and see how it works for them.
Danica Patrick right behind him got up and may have brushed the wall in that smoke screen.
Car looks clean, Mike. She goes by here.
Joey Logano will get the free pass right here.
Radio check, radio 2.
I got you.
All right, ready? Right here.
You run through a lot of oil.
I mean, I ran through when he blew up. Yeah, I mean, I slid on it up to the wall.
You see, look at all the oil on the windshield.
Yeah, I think she's going to have to come to pit road. She didn't hit the wall, but she got mighty close.
Larry, if they pit now, 43 to go.
Yeah, everybody can make it from here, and I truly believe, based on what we've seen pit roads closed right now, but I think we'll see most of these guys go with 2 right side tires. But back to the 11, Denny Hamlin, I think they have to stay out and get that wave around and try to get back on this lead lap.
Tell you what, I was shocked as to how well the 11 hung on those old tires. I thought he would fall way back, but he's
paid a little price at the restart to the really good cars, but then kind of settled in.
But it's all going to sort out because the lead lap cars will likely pit right now to make their last stop, and that will make Hamlin the leader when we go back to green. Or will it put him just back on the lead lap?
Yeah, I think that's
back on the lead lap.
You're right.
Yeah, because he's 1 lap down now.
That's correct. Fox Sports proud to partner with Johns Hopkins Medicine at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like MS and lupus. Join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. You're right. He was Hamlin was 1 lap down, so that will get him back to the front if he doesn't pit. Could take the wave around, be back on the lead lap, but at the tail end.
At the tail end. The one thing I do also need to clean up, we had so much going on. Chris DeVota did confirm he actually just took 2 tires and not 4 when he made that green flag stop.
They've dropped quite a bit of speedy dry because Travis Kvapil dropped quite a bit of oil and fluid. So the pits are open. This could be the last stop of the day. Let's see what happens. Krista.
Chad Kanowsk asking his driver Jimmy Johnson, how was it at the start of the run? Jimmy Johnson answered back with 1 word, good. Remember, he has more wins at this track than any other driver with 4. An adjustment on this stop, Steve.
Right side tires only for Casey Kane. He says his car is good. No tires for Matt Kenseth. Let's go to Matt.
And Kyle Busch said we cannot win this race unless we make some significant adjustments. Look for Jake Simonera to reach in and pull a spring rubber out of that right rear, and he's away 2 tires for the 18.
Matt Kenseth leads everybody off. Oh, they're pushing Martin Truex's car, and finally it catches. He's going to lose spots getting out of the pits.
Larry, I think they saw the same thing we saw with that 11 car. Those tires are pretty good, even if you got a few laps on them.
Yeah, if you look right there, also Brad Keselowski only 2, but remember last time he came to pit road, he took 4.
A lot of different strategies. We'll see how it plays out in 41 laps.
NASCAR on Fox live from Las Vegas with 39 laps to go after our 4th caution of the day. An issue on pit road moments ago for Casey Kane, who's led the most laps in this race.
Yeah, you see they complete their service, but the spotter's saying, or the crew chief one, watch the 14. The 14's coming in. That delay cost Casey precious track position. Watch from the top. You can see the 5 car, the blue car on the inside, and here comes Tony Stewart on the outside. Just as he gets ready to turn in, Casey's ready to go, and if he had went, there would have been contact.
And Kane's communication frustrated, a little angry at Tony Stewart and the 14 crew. At the moment, as we have cycled through here, Matt Kenseth is your leader for the 2nd time as Casey Kane stops or falls back to 6th at the moment. Let's listen in on Kane's transmission.
Sorry about that, man. There wasn't nothing we could do there.
What, was he trying to let us go?
I think at the last second he hit the brakes, but he was coming at us really hard.
Yeah, Casey was just trying to figure out what happened, why there was such a delay, and I don't think he was angry as much as he was just confused. He didn't understand why he couldn't have gone, and the spotter was thinking that maybe Tony slowed up to let him go.
And Kyle Busch, let's listen in or take a closer look at the pit stop issue here.
You can see they're working on the right rear, and there was a holdup there. And again, there's some differing pit strategies during this pit stop round 2. We saw the 2 car of Brad Keselowski take no tires along with Matt Kenseth. How many times does Paul Wolfe put Brad Keselowski up at the front of the race near the end? He's a master strategist. strategery today.
Strategist, I think, is the word you're looking for.
I was the Sarah Palin strategery I brought out there.
We knew where you were going. Kasey Kahne led only 58 laps in his previous 9 races here. He's led over 110 today, but you see the pit stop has had an effect. And Kyle Busch, after finishing 34th and 23rd in the first 2 races this season, is trying to win the first time this year and to help Toyota, which currently has Kenseth in the lead, Mike.
17 drivers taking the wave around, including Denny Hamlin, as we expected. A bunch of them getting back up onto the lead lap here. So we will restart with 18 lead lap cars. Logano, Hamlin, and Biffle back onto the lead lap after that.
Hey, Larry, how did we say the 5 might lose this race?
Only if they beat themselves.
And that was not their fault. They probably made the wise decision, but now he's back there in a little bit of traffic. Going to be so interesting if he can work by these guys and get to the lead.
Kasey Kahne will restart 6th.
Yeah, Darrell, with 37 laps to go, as good as he's been, I think he can get there.
I think that 20 car is going to get out there, and even on those old tires, I think he's going to be pretty tough to catch.
Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, no tires up at the front of the pack. Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, Earnhardt, Kane, Busch, Menard, Martin, Almirola.
Man, contact all over the place.
It's almost like Edwards in the 99 didn't get going, and they just stacked up behind him.
Down into the speedy dry.
Easy, boys.
That was Jimmy Johnson. And Kenseth has the lead in the backstretch. Not a pretty restart.
No, it wasn't. They were making contact, pushing each other. Got a little ugly there for a second.
That's Earnhardt up high in the orange car in 4th. Kyle Busch right with him.
I think the 20 car bottles this whole deal up. I think what happens to him, he's got those old tires on, he and Keselowski both, and they just don't really get going that great. You see the 20 wiggle, Carl gets into the back of him and actually gives him a shot forward, which got him to the lead.
That accordion's all the way back to about 10th place.
It's like that big spring. It just shot to the 20 car forward.
Well, maybe that's what Matt Kenseth needed to put the nose of his car into the wind. He's the 8th different leader today, 22 lead changes.
Well, this car, the 20 car, has been fast every week. I mean, Daytona, he had a car that could have won the race, had problems. There's a pass from 5th place there. The 5 car is coming in a hurry.
And he's got plenty of time, Darrell, with 35 to go. And Matt Kenseth, no tires on that pit stop, just ran the fastest lap of this race.
Well, maybe he had the best set he had all day on there. They don't want to take them off.
Steve?
Hey, Mike, I just asked the car chief on the 20, Jason Shapiro, if they had enough fuel to make it to the end. He said, that's a real good question. He said, we put enough in to make it to the end, but no extra.
Yeah, Mike, Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards, and Mark Martin, who's up in the top 10 in the 55, all just ran their fastest lap of their race.
Well, Larry, it always comes down to this. You've done everything you know to do the car. Now's the time to show what you got.
They all have to go 41 laps on this tank of fuel.
And we've been that far. We've been that far on the green. So as long as they're full, that's the whole question.
The 5 by the 88. So he's definitely got his nose down and headed to the front.
And another engine lets go up in turn 3.
Is that Ryan Newman?
It is. 2 weeks in a row. Trouble for Newman.
Still coming. You guys have to stay up there. All single file on the bottom.
There's the caution.
Yellow's out now. Yellow's out. Sorry, guys. I missed the shift on a restart because they all jumbled up.
And the thing about it, the driver has to fess up because they have the ability to see that on the data.
Top of your screen, next to the yellow car, there's Newman. And that caution will benefit Juan Montoya. He will get the free pass as Newman goes up in smoke.
Back in the day, we had those reset tacks, Larry. So if you missed a shift, you'd reset that sucker real quick and pray that nothing happened to it.
So now Denny Hamlin, who was on pit road at lap 217 and would have to go 50 laps, including these caution laps. What do you do, Larry?
Well, I think with basically 18, 19 drivers on the lead lap, if you're back there in the back 4th of those drivers, come on to pit road, make sure you're full of fuel, adjustments, and tires.
That's a no-brainer. I mean, if you're outside the top 10, you come down, you're going to do everything you can right here to see if you can get your car a little bit better.
And what if you're in the front 5, Darrell? You want tires or track position?
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, the top five, they're a lot like the pig with bacon at breakfast. They're committed now. There's no turning back.
All right, I got to tell that story now that you open that up. It was breakfast of bacon and eggs. Junior Johnson was telling the story, and Bill France wanted Junior to run the whole series for points, and he says, I'm involved, but I'm not committed. And he explained to Bill, he said, when you sit down to breakfast of bacon and eggs, the chicken is involved, the pig, he's committed.
Yes, he is.
And that's like our top 6 to 8 drivers right now out there on the racetrack.
Not only is the driver saying, I can't hear you, the crew chief is saying, I can't hear you.
Pits are open. Be kind of lonely in there, and here's Denny. Krista.
The last words Darian Grubb just told his driver, nothing to gain or lose. Let's come in. Let's go ahead and get 4 tires this time. Remember, they just took 2 last time. They're looking for a little bit more security, just a slight track bar adjustment, and telling Big Scott Wood, just a little splash of fuel. We're good, but just a little bit more Sunoco juice, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah, you know this. You think about what they did, it could have backfired on them. And it did until they took the wave around, and now they're back on the lead lap. Even though they're the back, they're not a lap down.
Greg Biffle was the next to last car on the lead lap. He's also in there. Boy, he's had a tough up and down day. Look at the bandages on the side of that car. Could probably use one for the day that they've had.
Surprising, because this is a track where you expect Greg Biffle to just be right up there amongst the front runners.
I think he's one of the drivers that the weather change really fit, because he was fast on Thursday, wasn't quite as happy yesterday, and I think today just really threw him a curveball.
So a bit of a surprise that drivers like Tony Stewart did not pit. Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, Ricky Stenhouse, Joey Logano. They were all toward the tail end of the lead lap, but all chose not to come down pit road.
Well, if you got enough fuel, and we've already seen that, you know, staying on old tires is not the worst thing in the world. Ask those 2 cats running first and second.
With Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, Matt Kenseth on the radio, his radio transmission, Michael, moments ago, a little bit unhappy in the last restart. Thought Brad Keselowski had a half car length advantage, and we're going to see Kenseth and Keselowski. This is a look back a moment ago on the more recent restart.
And you can see Keselowski a bit of an advantage there, but look, Matt gets hit in the back by Carl Edwards, turning this restart into havoc. Cars are going every which way, but you remember last week at the end of the Phoenix race too, Jimmy Johnson was upset with some of the restarts that took place. So this thing's ticking down to toward the end, and these guys are going to pull out every trick they know to try to get the victory.
How much of an advantage when you have, let's say, in that next row with a Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, teammates, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind? They're all Hendrick drivers.
Yeah, but they're all hungry, and we were early in the season. You need to get that victory, so you're not going to turn a guy sideways at your teammate if you can avoid it, but you're certainly going to get around him if you can do that.
Yep.
There's no strategery anymore. We're all down to just winning this race, pulling out every stop to win the race.
As long as you can see Russia from the finish line, that's where you want to go with this. But give us your thought, Michael, on Kenseth, Keselowski, Johnson, Kane, Earnhardt, and you still have Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle, we know, is terrific when it comes to restarts.
You know, his pit stop cost him. When he put him on the inside of that front second row, he's able to jump those guys and make a good run, but he's back in 6th. It'll be hard for him to get there. The guy likes Casey Kane. He's been fast. I think he can close this out.
All right, you got the hometown hero. You got the birthday boy, Matt Kenseth. Should make for a great finish. Let's go back up to Mike Joy.
Thanks, Chris. We'll be back for the restart with 19 cars on the lead lap and finish this off in Las Vegas. Double box, and we'll be green with you the rest of the way. They're lining up double file for what could be the final restart of the day. We've had 5 caution flags. Everybody's made what they hope is that last pit stop. And when they get the green flag, it'll be 26 laps to go. Matt Kenseth's Toyota, Brad Keselowski's Ford, ahead of the Chevys of Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Larry, you've been saying all weekend long, it's all about the restarts. This could be the big one.
This could be the one that makes or break you. But what I like, Michael Waltrip touched on it, there's no strategy. It's a bunch of hungry hounds trying to win this race.
I say you wake up Jesse, because this is getting ready to get big.
Well, Darrell, you got the front row on somewhat worn tires. Newer tires further back will make a difference.
I think Kenseth is the guy to keep an eye on, but I think the 5 will eat him up eventually because 5's got tires, 20 doesn't. That 20 car is fast.
Matt Kenseth trying to win on his 41st birthday. His Joe Gibbs Toyota out front. And Denny Hamlin trying to get a place in line there. Hamlin is 17th. Here they come. They are 3 abreast. Green flag waves. And it'll be Keselowski edging Matt Kenseth down toward turn 1.
Kenseth's a little slow off the line, but when he gets that thing in high gear, she takes off.
There comes Kasey Kahne in that 5. He got the run off the high side. Looks like he's going to go to the inside of Keselowski down the backstretch.
I think, Larry, they all know when this 5 gets up there, he's long gone.
Kasey Kahne coming like yesterday's train. He is within 2 car lengths of the leader.
But you see Kyle Busch in that 18 all the way almost down into the infield grass. He's not ready to give up on this thing.
That's a shortcut, baby. Time to take it. We know for a few laps that 18 will be up there because he gets incredible restarts.
How about this? Kenseth, Kahne, Kyle, Keselowski.
What they all have in common?
They all want to win.
They have a K in your name.
Little stay dry, dust flies up there. They head off into turn 1. Nothing to worry about. Kenseth's laying down some fast laps.
We've been monitoring NASCAR. No call on that restart lineup. The drivers are supposed to be aligned by turn 3, 2 by 2, but Hamlin was trying to take his proper spot in the order. Couldn't get up in the line there, but
I don't think those guys realized he was on the tail end of the lead lap, or at the end of the lead lap.
Yeah, all the drivers he was fighting with for position, all those drivers were a lap down or more.
Look at that 20 car, stretch it out, Larry. Kahne can't afford for him to get very far away.
Well, our top 4 drivers, they just ran their fastest lap again of the race.
This is so typical Matt Kenseth. You think about races he wins. He doesn't always dominate them, but all of a sudden at the end of the day, he's got the car to beat.
I see Matt Kenseth out in front in the late stages of a race. I keep thinking the Silver Fox, David Pearson.
Yeah,
you know, there's some parallels there.
There are.
Kyle Busch 3rd, Keselowski 4th. They're about 1.5 seconds behind Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, those first 2 cars, Mike, they're in kind of a league of their own, and then you've got the 18 and the 2 there. They're kind of in the same league.
Time now for our sprint. 20 to go. With Matt Kenseth leading, Kasey Kahne sits 0.6 of a second behind him.
20 to go, and I like that 20.
Kahne has led the most laps today, 113 of them. He wants to lead 1 more, and that's lap 267.
How about Kyle Busch? Remember lap 46, he had that pit road speeding penalty, had to come back and overcome that, led the race, sitting there in 3rd. I think he'd like to see another caution.
If either of them are going to win, they're going to have to get past Matt Kenseth. Let's go to his pit with Steve.
Jason, you got a great restart. Do you have enough fuel to get to the end, and can you hold off the 5?
Yeah, thanks to that last caution there, we should be good on fuel. Wish I had a little better tires on the car, but Matt's doing a great job. Our Dollar General Camry's been good all week. And we finally got it in the spot we needed it in. We'll see if we can pull it off here.
That is the sweet spot. We know that.
And that gap now holds at 0.4 of a second. It was 0.6 2 laps ago.
They were about the same on the stopwatch that lap, but the lap before that, Kasey Kahne in the 5 beat Kenseth in the 20 by 0.2.
Well, that's what we've seen all these restarts, and all day long, really, the 5 just gets better and better and better, and is able to chase down just about anybody he's had to.
Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski fight for third. Jimmy Johnson alone in fifth. Martin Truex sixth, and Carl Edwards has taken seventh from Earnhardt.
Yeah, that 2 car's been, you know, it's been good, but they've had so many issues. It's mighty good to see him get his way back to the front.
Third, here comes Keselowski again. He got a great run off turn number 2. Down the Nellis straightaway, which honors the Air Force Base, right across the road. And Kyle stays high. Nothing right there. Now in the top 10, Menard in the 27, Tony Stewart in the 14, or is it now Kevin Harvick in the 29, battling Stewart for 10th.
What a turnaround for Tony Stewart in that 14. Less than about 70 laps ago, he was a lap down, had to get the free pass to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, he was not happy with his car, Larry, when this race started. He knew he was going to have his work cut out for him.
First to second, 2 car lengths apart. Third to fourth, 2 car lengths apart. How's this one going to unfold with 15 laps to go?
Well, it was about a 10th and a half that time with Casey Kane. He just keeps moving the car around, DW.
Probably tires, Larry. You think about the tires on the 20, the tires on the 5, a little bit better tires on that 5 car.
And that's exactly what Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief for Kenseth, just said.
But if he had taken the time to get those tires, he wouldn't have this track position.
It was a great gamble.
Oh, I like the call. I'm not questioning the call. He did the right thing. These 2 guys here are putting on a show, buddy.
Well, neither one of these drivers got off to the start they wanted to get off to at Daytona and Phoenix. And here they are running 1-2, 14 to go.
You know, I love what Matt Kenseth is doing now, guys. He saw Casey Kane on the high side of the track making a move. He didn't know what his car would do when he went there, but he knew he had to go there. He had to take Casey's line away, and so far, that defensive move is paying dividends.
Similarly, Brad Keselowski's been trying the bottom against Kyle Busch, and he's not having any luck there either, as they battle for third, 3 seconds behind the leaders.
Yeah, that battle for second or for third and fourth there is amazing. That's the ones I was talking about a minute ago. They're putting on a show. They're all over each other. Keselowski was pushing the 18 down the front last time by.
Mike, it's almost like right now Casey Kane might be a little better in 1 and 2 than Matt Kenseth.
Whoa, Keselowski almost threw it away, Larry.
He's after it. You see what it cost him? Just that little slide. I don't even think he got out of the throttle, but that little slide cost him a little momentum. But he'll be fighting back, I guarantee you.
But I think what this shows you with Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, none of these drivers are just after a good, solid points day. They want to gain every spot they can.
3 and 4 that time.
The only time a Las Vegas race ended with a last lap pass, it was Jimmy Johnson stealing the win for Matt Kenseth here in 2006.
I tell you, you're not going to just drive around Matt Kenseth, and most likely he's not going to make a mistake.
10 to go next time by.
Darrell, it's almost like Casey makes a gain on him, and then Matt searches around and finds that little something.
I think it's just a matter of watching in the mirror, and wherever he goes, get in his way.
Kane to the bottom. Lap car ahead. Kenseth comes down a bit. Now on the front straightaway, Kenseth knows that Kane likes the shortcut.
Yeah, well,
down
Casey,
to the apron.
He likes the bottom. That's how he made most of his passes over here off of turn 2, getting on underneath people off of turn 2. We'll see if he can pull it off. Right here is where he makes a big gain.
Please tell me how many laps to go every 2 or 3 laps.
That's Matt Kenseth.
I know how that feels. You are giving it all you got, and you just need somebody to tell you how many laps there are to go.
8 laps to go. There you go. Slower through 3 and 4 than you were. Play by 2.
Remember, Kenseth has a new spotter he's working with this year.
I guarantee if that was Colin,
1 lane higher, 2 back.
Next week, Thunder Valley.
Make sure you tell me that one. I don't want him to slip outside.
See, Mike, that's the thing I've been saying about Kenseth all along. He is going through a real transition here with all new people. New spotter, new crew chief, new team.
New third-place driver, Brad Keselowski, has gotten past Kyle Busch.
We've got 7 laps to go, and our 2 leaders, we're going to catch several lap-down drivers here in the next lap or 2.
I think they can see that yellow car coming.
But no matter how slow those lap-down cars are, they're going to take a lane away as they try to go by.
Yeah, it looks pretty good right here. He's going to get a little bit of a pull off of that 35 car.
Yep, Josh Wise.
Josh Wise, he gets a little pull there, actually gains a little bit.
He stays low. Kenseth goes past. Rudeman, the next car ahead, with 6 laps to go.
But here's his money. Turn 2 is Casey Kane's money turn. That's where he makes the big gain, turn 2.
Kenseth had to lift to choose a lane to get past Wise, and Kane is there.
Look in the bottom inside. Clear. He slipped up the hill. 5.
Drove it in too hard and slipped up. I had to give up.
But he had him where he needed him, I think, Darrell, with the run he got off turn 2.
This is Kenseth looking on.
Katie, I know how you feel. Sitting there watching your husband do his job and hanging on for dear life, hoping he can pull it out.
These guys, get him out of the way.
Atta boy, tell him.
I'm up here working right now, Matt. Clear by 3.
See, he's got to even tell his spotter. He's got to train his spotter. Here's what I need, man. Come on, help me.
Coming up on
Get him out of the way, please. Get him down, down, down.
He wants Danica Patrick and David
You
Stremme
know you want the top.
to stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Stremmy's high, Patrick's low. Here comes Kane. This could be a log jam at the end of the back straightaway.
I think Danica will move down. I think she knows that Matt's there.
By 3.
Actually, it helps Matt a little bit. He gets a little pull down the straightaway off of these lap cars.
Now, the spotters on the roof, they are in team uniforms. So one spotter can go to the other and say, hey, help us out. Stay on the bottom of the racetrack. That's what Stremmy's done. Clear path for Kenseth on the outside.
But, Darrell, I think you're right. That's what Matt Kenseth appeared tried to do that time with David Stremme down the front stretch. Just get that little bit of a draft.
Yeah, he gets a nice pull. Now, Casey got off of 2 that time. That's where the action is going to be. If he's going to get Kenseth, he's going to have to get under him off of turn 2.
And he kind of maintained that time through 3 and 4. They'll be coming to 2 to go.
Kane looks a little tight in 3 and 4, but if he can get that run off of 2 and get up under Matt, he might have a shot. Right here is where he really can haul. Right there.
Kane with a look, but lines up.
Now, Matt seems to be better on this end. Casey runs in here. He can't get down low in turns 3 and 4. Kind of helps Matt get off of this corner with a head of steam. Again, we got lap cars up here. He's going to get a little. Going to get a little pull off of Casey.
Carl Edwards has taken 5th from Jimmy Johnson. As here we go on the last lap. 3 cars ahead, the first of which is Casey Mears. And they'll catch Mears before the start-finish line.
Down. I got him, Matt. I got him, buddy. Bring it to the line here. Clear by 3.
Can you believe you're driving, holding off Casey Kane, and you're telling the spotter what you need?
Kane looks to the inside. Light the candles. Happy birthday, Matt Kenseth.
Oh, it's a huge win. Huge.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody, man. Thanks for picking up the stops, man. Awesome. Yes. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for putting me here. Thanks, guys.
Matt Kenseth becomes the 3rd Sprint Cup driver to win on his birthday. Cale Yarborough did it twice. Kyle Busch has done it. And now Matt Kenseth, who has 41 candles on his cake today. It's his first win for Joe Gibbs Racing and only his 3rd start for the team.
And he did it with about 31 more laps on those right side tires than Casey Kane.
Always see good results of sliding through the grass.
Kenseth's now won at least 1 race in 11 of his 14 full-time seasons in Sprint Cup racing.
Just think about it, Mike. Moved from the only team he'd ever driven for to Joe Gibbs' team to drive this 20 car. What a win.
Car owner Joe Gibbs, his 101st career Sprint Cup win and his 2nd at Las Vegas. brings down the house. His 25th career victory.
That's what 41 candles look like when you light them up.
That's right.
I believe he's going to be one exciting man there in victory lane.
Carl last week, Matt this week. Great.
Matt Kenseth beats Casey Kane by 0.6 of a second, with series champ Brad Keselowski third.
Welcome to the post-race show. You're watching NASCAR on Fox from Las Vegas, where Matt Kenseth puts Toyota in victory lane in the 20 car. He was telling me this weekend he felt the pressure after 13 seasons of racing at Ford, switching over to Joe Gibbs and Toyota this year and joining that team, kind of the go-to guy. He wanted to have success as soon as he could. Finishing second, Casey Kane dominated much of the race, and he's standing by with Steve Burns.
Yeah, what a great race car the 5 team put underneath Casey Kane. Talk about the battle at the end of the race with Matt Kenseth.
Well, I had an unbelievable Farmers Insurance Chevrolet throughout the whole race. The pit stops were great, and we just came out 6th there, which I think Matt would have beat us out anyways because he didn't take tires. So, you know, tough to say if we would have got by him. But I think just 2 cycles on left sides, I wasn't quite as good. I couldn't turn down the track quite as well as I could the runs before, and just got greasy out there, and that was it. So he beat us, but I had a great day. You can drive so hard. I drove so hard every single lap today, and I think that's just the Gen 6 car and the Chevy SS. But it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I had the car to beat today, and we lost, but it was still a great run for all of our guys.
Thanks, Casey. Great job. Let's go to Chris Myers.
Fifth straight time Casey's led the most laps and failed to win a 2-man show over the final 26 laps. And Matt Kenseth holds off Casey Kane to pull into victory lane. Chris Devoda is down there for the celebration.
Well, it didn't come easy, but nothing in Vegas ever does. As Matt Kenseth climbs out of the race car, you had said at the start of the year you were perhaps more excited about this season than you'd ever been. You're not known to be an emotional guy, but we just saw emotion from you climbing out of that car.
Well, this is this is awesome. I first want to start by thanking the Lord for giving me this opportunity, and I just knew it. I just feel real good about this group. I really feel like this is just the beginning. Jason Ratcliffe is pretty much a man, so I really want to say thanks to Dollar General, Toyota, Sprint, Husky Tools, Toyota, Citizen Watch, Gatorade, GameStop, and Research, and DollarGeneral.com tomorrow. It's 20% off.
How nervous did those last few laps, knowing Kane was coming, how nervous did that make you?
I was real nervous all day. He had the best car, and I told Jason about 12 ago. I apologized to him, like, I'm sorry, man, I'm gonna get beat. You know, I was getting too tight, and I was killing the right front, and I just had to make sure I stayed in front of him. And didn't have quite the fastest car there then, but we had it where it needed to be. It was just great pit stops, great pit strategy, and we're in the right place at the right time and took advantage of it today.
Hey, one more thing. How's that for a birthday present? Happy birthday, Matt.
Yeah, thanks. I was kind of bummed out about being 29, but you know, since we're standing here with a win, I'll take it.
29 never looked so good. Matt Yoakum.
Kyle Busch won here in 2009. Now, you made the call from the cockpit to make all the different adjustments on that last stop. How much more did you need?
Well, it helped us. I mean, it got the car tightened up, but it was too tight for the first 10 laps where I was really good in the run before. And then after that, I was still going loose, so we didn't really save the right rear tire any like we were trying to do. But all in all, great day. These guys worked really, really hard, and I got us boxed in with a pit road penalty early, but we clawed our way back up through there, and this M&M's Camry was fast enough to help me do that. And Dave and the guys made some great calls. Just wish we had a little bit more there at the end, and you know, a little bit more long run speed. You know, I felt like short run speed was really good, so we've got some work to do, but good to see the 20 in victory lane, and Matt's first time. You know, wish it was us, but if it's a JGR car, that's good.
Great recovery by Kyle Busch. Chris?
More than 6 decades of NASCAR, and only 4 times has a driver won on his birthday. Cale Yarborough did it twice, Kyle Busch did it once, and today, however old he is, Matt Kenseth, #1 with the family and in victory lane in Las Vegas. We'll have more in a moment. Tools 400 and Brad Keselowski, the only driver this year to finish in the top 5 in all 3 races. But Michael, how about this battle for 7th with Junior and Truex?
It's a crossover move by Truex. He tries to get to the bottom of Junior, and he almost gets there, but Junior edges him at the finish line. A couple of Juniors going at it there.
And Truex Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jr. wound up 7th. Truex 8th as we check out the unofficial results. And worth mentioning, as you see Kenseth the winner, the guys like Kasey Kahne, Kyle Busch, Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, who all were outside the top 30 coming into this race, had good finishes today as we head to Bristol in the 4th race of the year.
Yeah, we talked about Carl Edwards leaving Daytona in a hole. He dug out of it at Phoenix by winning. These guys now have themselves in a better position going forward.
Greg Biffle, some trouble in the pits at 17th. You saw Denny Hamlin at 15. I'm sure he's satisfied with the car and his performance today.
A great run for our rookie, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We saw him bouncing off the wall, but he never gave up, kept after it, and got a solid top 20.
And just under the speed record for this track at 146 miles per hour. The cautions later in the race slowed people down. Danica Patrick, a rough start from the back of the field. And you see the drivers rounding out the field. Let's check in down trackside with Matt Yoakum.
It looked almost like Brad Keselowski was running for office when he got out of his race car. He walked up to Kasey Kahne, patted him on the back for a great run, walked back to Kyle Busch. But what's most impressive, the recovery by you and this team?
Yeah, you know, we got behind there on one of them pit stops and just kept working. And I felt like if I could just get the 20 off of pit road, I would have had something for him. But you know, starting on the inside, he kept spinning his tire on the restart, and I'd have to slow down so I wouldn't beat him to the line by a bunch and get in trouble. So when he would do that, it would just check everybody up, and it would all gang up on me, and I couldn't do anything without wrecking everybody. So just one of them deals. The last thing I would do is jump to restart and get put in the back, and I think we all know how that works. So gave it a good effort with the Miller Lite Ford, a lot better than what we were in practice, and everybody on my team, everybody at Penske Racing, they keep working on these cars, and we don't seem to have a lot of speed in practice or qualifying, but when it comes to the race, these guys are the best.
Started today first, ends third, continues that impressive start to his season.
Thanks, Matt. And Brad Keselowski in defense of his title after 3. No victories yet, but he's showing you his switch from Dodge to Ford. He can hang right in there with old 5-time.
Well, he couldn't have set up any better. That car was terrible yesterday. They tuned on it overnight and put him in a position to win the race.
Eric Almirola gets a little attention just ahead of Michael Waltrip Racing and Clint Boyer in the points as we head to Bristol, Tennessee, rounding out the top 20. There's rookie Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hanging in there. Kasey Kahne wanted to improve his position. So did Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch as well. Matt Kenseth, the big football fan, big Packer fan from Wisconsin, but with Joe Gibbs, good coaching, good race team, good victory for the 20 car. We'll have more from Vegas in a moment.
For over 70.
Few protect the lead as well as Matt Kenseth, former Rookie of the Year, former NASCAR champ, and gets Toyota its first victory, his first ride in victory lane with Joe Gibbs Racing, taking the event here in Las Vegas. Tonight on Fox, tune in a little bit later. The fans are all heading to their TV sets to watch Bob's Burgers, Family Guy, The Simpsons. It's animation domination on Fox. I know if you're not there in person, you'll want to be there, the Coliseum of Racing. It's always a great scene. It's loud and exciting. Brad Keselowski won in Bristol last year. Matt Kenseth has won there twice. And, you know, Kyle and Kurt Busch always run well there as well. Next on Speed, Victory Lane. For continuing race coverage from Las Vegas, tune in to Victory Lane over on Speed. So with 41 laps to go, the Toyota engine held up for Matt Kenseth as he fought off Kasey Kahne. As the saying goes, what happens in Las Vegas stays here.